8%. Nairobi has recorded the highest cases at 1,297, followed by Nakuru at 233 and Kiambu at 222. One patient has succumbed to the virus, whereas more than 9 million vaccines have been administered, with the proportion of fully vaccinated Kenyans at 13.4%. Meanwhile, COVID-19 has claimed more than 3.3 million lives this year across the world. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom says COVID-19 still continues to claim around 50,000 lives across the world every week, even as Africa is now facing a steep wave of infections driven largely by the Omicron variant.
Just a month ago, Africa was reporting its lowest number of cases in 18 months. Last week, it reported the fourth highest number of cases in a single week so far. There is now consistent evidence that Omicron is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant. And it's more likely that people who have been vaccinated or have recovered from COVID-19 could be infected or reinfected.
Adhanom has further called on people across the world to postpone holiday gatherings as they result in another wave and more setbacks.
Increased social mixing over the holiday period in many countries will lead to increased cases, overwhelmed health systems, and more deaths. All of us are sick of this pandemic. All of us want to spend time with friends and family. All of us want to get back to normal. The fastest way to do this is for all of us, leaders and individuals, to make the difficult decisions that must be made to protect ourselves and others. It's better to cancel now and celebrate later than to celebrate now and grieve later.
Still on COVID-19, and you'll not be able to access government services without a COVID-19 certificate. Government spokesperson Sarah Zaguna has reiterated the state's commitment to withhold services for those yet to receive their COVID-19 vaccine. Aguna said unvaccinated Kenyans will only access online government services following the expiry of the month-long deadline. Aguna has called on public service transport operators to be extra careful when ferrying learners from schools who have closed schools for end term this week. He also urged passengers to report reckless drivers to the relevant authorities. This as 3 people died while several others sustained injuries in a fatal road accident along Koma Kenol Road in Machakos County. Kangundo Level 4 Hospital Manager Ebayo Loveto said the bodies had been moved to the hospital's mortuary. Witnesses said they died on the spot following a head-on collision between the Prado and Probox. Now, 3 Chogoyo girls' secondary schools who perished in a road accident on Saturday died from severe head and chest injuries conveyed by the impact of the accident. A post-mortem report revealed 2 of them suffered severe head injuries which caused internal bleeding into the brain, whereas the 3rd student had multiple injuries on the head, chest and liver. Speaking at General Cargo Funeral Home, where the post-mortem was being carried out, the family of Karen Wangu and Joy Barnes, who perished in the accident, said they'll lay their daughters to rest tomorrow. They further urged the government to ensure justice prevails. The National Assembly has approved the appointment of Anthony Mwaniki as the chairperson of the Public Service Commission. Mwaniki's appointment was made by President Uhuru Kenyatta last month. He currently serves as Kenya's ambassador to Cuba. The post fell vacant following the death of Stephen Kirogo in August this year. The National Assembly also approved the nomination of Caroline Naikena and Thomas Okotho-Yer as members of the Gender and Equality Commission. Now, 2 men have been sentenced to life imprisonment after they were found guilty of killing a border operator in Siaya in November 2018. The duo Benjamin Odhiambo and Vincent Owuor are said to have run over one Ronald Otieno multiple times during the incident. The event transpired after Otieno and his girlfriend Mercy Okinyi had an altercation at a popular Siaya entertainment joint on November 30th, 2021. After the quarrel, Okinyi boarded the suspect's vehicle and they sped off, but Otieno, who was in the company of his brother, opted to pursue them with his motorcycle. Otieno is said to have attempted to bring the vehicle to a halt, but the occupants ignored his advances and rammed his motorcycle from the back. Now, parking fees in Nairobi's Central Business District are set to double if a new motion by City Hall is amended into law. The reintroduction of zonal parking will see motorists pay 400 shillings up from 200 shillings if they park their vehicles in the city centre and along Kijabi Street. The aforementioned locations are designated as Zone 1, but motorists in Zone 2, which covers areas such as Westlands, Upper Hill Community, Ngara, High Ridge Industrial Area, Gigeri, Kilimani, Yaya Centre, Milimani, Harlingam, as Zone 2 will pay 300 shillings instead. This is Newswire. Dennis Alceto.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves. Return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you, because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us, assert our will.
When the legislature are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality. We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi la Wokoh is Jeshi la Wokoh?
I can't say it very well.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
We're in the middle of the week and it looks as though folks have left the city. It's still pretty low this morning in terms of traffic, starting to build up in the CBD, just a little bit here and there, getting off Landis Road, getting into the CBD, coming off Jogo Road as well this morning. Not too much of an issue. Looks like it might build up much later though. Let's look at the Thika Superhighway, and there's no traffic there, just a little bit around the Utali Drift. And then heading out into the city, but nothing too bad, at least not for now. Shall we keep an eye on things and see what it looks like in about half an hour when more folks have woken up? Talk to us on SpiceFM KE if you need to. Our text on 40127. Let's keep things moving this morning.
Broadcasting worldwide, SpiceFM. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
It's Wednesday before Christmas, and happy holidays wherever you are tuned in. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room, the 22nd day of December 2021. At 9 minutes after 6, the show begins now. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, and Ndu Okoh, C.T. Muga, Eric Latiff are here with you until 10 a.m. Good morning, Ndu.
Good morning, Eric.
How are you doing?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thank God.
Well done.
I thank God.
We'll take them as we see. What did mango do?
What did mango do? What does that mean, by the way?
As in, what will you do now? As in, take it as it is.
What would you do?
No.
When what happens?
No. Not like that.
Yeah.
As in, what option do I have? What would I do otherwise? So I just,
What would I do?
Yeah.
What else would I do?
I have no choice.
What mango do? City, how are you?
I'm very well, actually.
What in mango do you?
No, man, me, it's the cold that's doing me, man.
It's doing a number on you. It's doing a number on me. Honestly, it's cold, I must say.
It's quite cold.
Yeah.
And this morning, that breakfast, I'm not sure what I was eating.
What do you mean?
Tasting the same. Everything. Yeah. Sausage, sambusa, mayai,
All tastes the
mukati.
same.
Sawdust.
Omo.
Kila kitu. I'm wondering, is it the same thing? Anyway, now that we're talking about that, we are going to have several conversations today on SMEs and support of SMEs in the country. And then we'll also have a conversation with the Kenya Revenue Authority. And this is understanding Kenya Revenue Authority and what they do. Two things that I want us to talk about. We want to talk about with them, City. Number one.
Tunataka kuongea about tax. Then tunataka tuelewe hii mambo ya PIN.
What is this PIN business?
Hii PIN maana yake ni nini na umuhimu wake ni nini? Yes, and then there's a little detail we'll look into alternative conflict resolution.
Right.
Within the Kenya Revenue Authority.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So kama tax nashinda wewe, wanakimbia
Kuja.
ongea na sisi.
Kuja.
Nashinda wewe. Hapana kimbia.
Hapana kimbia.
I think in readiness for that, I received an email from KRA. At about, what time was this? And the headline of this is, tax issues to be sought out of court.
Yeah.
Settle your tax issues out of court. Dear esteemed customer.
So now, the esteemed customer is talking to us and telling us what he was told. So, you see
Are they telling me something?
I think they've already told you something. Or are you waiting for another something to be told?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're telling me I have tax issues.
So rather than it getting ugly, come on, let's have a what?
Kuja tuongee. To the sort out of court. Your tax disputes can now be resolved through mediation for free through alternative dispute resolution, saving you from lengthy legal processes and costs. Yeah, saving me and saving you as well, Carrie.
Saving you, saving me.
Let's talk about COVID-19 in this.
Let's do that. All right. Let's look at global numbers. We're now looking at 1 million cases between yesterday and today globally. That's risen significantly, of course. But let's look at what's happening in the country, where we already have been told by experts between yesterday and today that this current wave could affect about 2 million people. Now, the effect that we're talking about is those infected with COVID-19, those having to lose loved ones, and those having to lose their own lives because of COVID-19, and vaccinated or unvaccinated businesses, etc., etc. So we'll look at that story later on. But this is what we are being told, that 2 million people could be affected.
This is Kenya.
Yes, this is Kenya. Over the next couple of months in this now 5th wave, right?
Yeah.
Still vaccines available in the country. We're looking at a very high number of new cases, 2,844 new COVID-19 cases.
Positivity has shot to what?
27.8% is the positivity
From
rate
less
now.
than 1%. It's
some
approaching
days we were at
30%.
0.2, 0.8 for the longest time. 6 or so weeks we were at 0.8, right? And in about a week and a half,
It has shot to 30.
yeah, in a week and a half, we've gone up by easily 27 percentile points. 2,844 is a high number. Even when we're looking at the 4th and 3rd wave, very rarely did we hit this number. No, I don't think we did at all. No, the highest number that we got in a single day with COVID was just over 2,000. This is 2,844 from a sample size of 10,215. Positivity rate of 27.8%. One recorded death. This was over the last 30 days. All right.
So what we have not noticed is in the last 1, 2, 3 weeks, we have not noticed new deaths.
No.
These are late reportings.
These are late reportings, yes. If there have been deaths that are occurring right now,
Yeah.
chances are that we would be hearing them now.
Yeah.
And then because these stragglers that we often see, like this 1, 2, 3, is because of, like we said, the accident that maybe, and then posthumous testing turned out to be that it was COVID, etc. But if we had people dying in medical facilities today.
Because there are many people who, all these samples that we're talking about, remember, in Kenya, we don't do random sampling.
No.
It is people who present themselves
with symptoms
in hospital and then they're tested.
Yes.
Or, well, in a few cases, those who are seeking to travel and therefore they are looking for a PCR certificate.
Yes.
But many, it's people turning up in hospitals, in health facilities with symptoms and then they are tested. And in those cases, then, if there are severe cases, then they get admitted.
Absolutely.
So there's immediate tracking.
One other interesting thing that's happening now is that a lot of the hospitals are full, but they are, and when I say full, I don't mean that people are hospitalized.
Overwhelmed.
No. I mean that people are going for checkups because of this cold and flu that's going on, right? And it's interesting because many facilities are carrying out the rapid test right now.
Yeah.
The rapid test, because they're testing for these flu symptoms that everybody's showing up with, the cough and cold. Everybody from children to adults are in hospital with the cough and the cold, right? So medical facilities now are doing the rapid test to rule out COVID-19. And I thought that was interesting because it's something now that they can use. So within a couple of hours of you being in hospital, you can then get to see if you have COVID-19 or not. And I thought that was interesting that is being employed right now. So 10,000 people around the country being tested yesterday for COVID. 2,800 found out to have it, but presented themselves to hospital with symptoms of a normal flu. And in the majority of cases, they present with a normal flu or this influenza A kind of symptoms that we are seeing. And if the medical practitioner decides, all right, let me just test for COVID, they're able to do it quickly. And by the time you're done with your checkup, they can tell you whether you have or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
But many of the new cases that are being reported, are they Omicron?
No, the majority are not.
Still Delta and the other variants?
Yes, the majority are not Omicron.
I saw a meme doing the rounds on social media yesterday. Omicron lands in Kenya and it's asking itself, huku ni wapi nilikuja? Everyone is calling me flu.
Yeah. Everybody's saying actually it's uko na Omicron, and
it's calling me a homa.
Forgetting that Omicron is actually a variant of COVID. You know, it's not your flu, but that's what we're dealing with now.
Okay, let's take a break at 18 after 6. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. If you're online, let's hear it from you, and we'll be saying hello to you shortly. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. With you is Eric Latiff, Ndu Okoh on CT Muga on SpiceFM, and online SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Taking a look at the weather forecast for the day, if Nairobi does like what Nairobi did yesterday, what? Hey. Anyway, let's find out shortly.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver. The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
This holiday season is all about kujienjoy, kupiga sherehe na kuget lit ukiget Showmax. Anza kustream na upate more than you expected with the funny Showmax original film Baba Twins. How about jina lako kukua kwenye limelight as you feel the thrill with Famous, first and only on Showmax. And it's about kuchotwa na drama or holding on for dear life in the telenovela Kina. Kwa hivyo, get festive, get Showmax. Sign up for your 14-day free trial at showmax.com.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu acha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial *550*1# to read the Standard e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings from your telecom line, and stay up to date for a reliable source with over 100 years of experience with no additional data charges.
Cloudy conditions, a chance of rain in Nairobi, highs of 25 and lows of 15 today. It's cloudy in Nakuru at 15, highs of 24 and lows of 15. 22 will be the high in Nyeri, where it's cloudy at 16. And in Eldoret, clear conditions at 13, highs of 24 and lows of 13. We're looking at mostly clear conditions for now in Mombasa at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 24. We'll see highs of 30 as well in Malindi. It's mostly clear currently at 25. Kisumu is mostly cloudy at 20, highs of 31. And we'll see highs of 31 in Kakamega as well, where it's partly cloudy at 18, and we'll see lows of 17. Kampala is raining at 20, highs of 27 and lows of 19. It's partly cloudy in Dar es Salaam at 25 with highs of 32. Okay, Johannesburg is clear at 15, highs of 23 and lows of 14, and it's clear in Lagos at 24. That'll be for the low for today, going to highs of 34. For now, it's mostly clear in Kinshasa at 25, highs of 32 and lows of 24. Out in Beijing, it's sunny going into the afternoon at 4 degrees. We'll see highs of 6 and lows of -4. -2 already in Paris this morning, highs of 2 and lows of -3. It's 0 in London, highs of 4 and back down to lows of 0 today. New York is cloudy at 5. We'll see highs of 7, back down to lows of 5.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
22 minutes after
Spice
6.
FM.
This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Merry Christmas. Who's online?
Everybody, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Kavaya says good morning to you guys. Namswa Elisha is enjoying a hot Malindi this morning. And Hanyef Gooding is in Barbados, and he says it's 11:11 p.m. here, and I'm locked. Good to have you in the room. Fefelafi Massa tuned in from South Africa this morning. And Christoph says, good morning. You're waiting for the song. Oh, no. Today is the 9th day. No, today is the 10th day of Christmas. Do you want me to sing it? I'm sorry. I forgot. Shall I do it really quickly for you? On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
So today was what?
10 lords a leaping.
Yeah, whatever.
There you go. Thank you, Christoph. You appreciate a good thing. Martin Mafula says, good morning. Tuned in from Dalu in Bungoma. Tunawapata loud and clear. Great, great, great. Alex Mbogo, Robert Mbogo in Nyeri and Mombasa. Mercy Mongwa says, good morning from Botswana. And in from Embakasi is Edwin Nganyi this morning. Hanyef, okay, we've said hello to you. And Kolo says, good morning specifically to Eric Latiff. Bishogoro Omukaya says, good morning, guys. Edwin Miner, good morning. Ndusi T and Eric tuned in from Karatina this morning. Good to have you guys in the room. Asante sana for joining us.
Welcome, everybody. City, how many proverbs today?
Just one.
Okay.
Yes. Kanga hazai ugenini.
Kanga hazai ugenini.
Kanga is a guinea fowl.
I was going to say kanga is not the thing you wrap around you.
No. Okay. That also is kanga, but here it's the bird. Yes.
Is that none?
Doesn't lay eggs in strange places.
Kanga hazai ugenini. Okay. A guinea fowl does not lay eggs in strange places.
Yes, it doesn't.
Has a specific spot.
It does. It has to be a place that it's familiar with. Anyone who's kept chicken will know it's also true of chicken.
Yeah. Yes, it is. All right, so let's look at the headlines in the papers. The Standard e-paper is available for 20 shillings daily, and you get access to the Standard content on your digital devices, whether it's a laptop or tablet or phone or whatever device that you have, and you see the entire Standard e-paper. Plus, you get free Sudoku, free crossword puzzle, and access to 10 days of the Standard Media archives. what's in the papers.
On the front line, or rather on the front page of the Standard, shocking confessions on police executions. That stands out and shouts right at you. Spilling the beans. Police informer lifts the lid on extrajudicial killings in explosive testimony that implicates rogue officer in the murder of human rights lawyer, his client and their taxi driver, and other Kenyans accused of being car thieves. This story is carried on 8, 9, 10 and 11. So there's the ongoing case of Willie Kimani, right? A number of people here said a number of things. Informer is Peter Ngugi, and he's said to have been hired to spy on the trio from Mavoko Court and took part in the murder and subsequent dumping of the bodies at Oledonyo Sabuk Court. The court had rejected his earlier statement. So this is the case. It's been ongoing for some time, of the taxi driver and lawyer that were killed this side of Athi River, and this was a couple of years ago. So if I can just give you the details of this. So what comes out now is that, there's a lot more beyond just the story in terms of what police are allegedly involved in. More police officers were involved in the alleged murder of city lawyer Willie Kimani, his client Joseph Mwendwa, and driver Joseph Moirori. Police informer Peter Ngugi did not fret when he told the court that some of the officers fronted as state witnesses were involved in murder of car thieves. He's accused of murder alongside police officers Frederick Leliman, Leonard Mwangi, Stephen Cheburet, and Sylvia Wajiro. Ngugi told the court that he was recruited as an informer in 2009 by the Flying Squad, the killer unit which was disbanded in 2019. He narrated to Justice Jesse Lasit how he met an officer named Constable Wilson Kamau through former Mlolongo Officer Commanding Station, the OCS Stephen Lele. Ngugi also claimed investigation sweetened his resolve to testify against the accused after promising to give him have him pocket 30,000 shillings monthly, a free house and a business for his wife. Yesterday, in court, he was wearing a belt with an eagle engraved on the buckle. He revealed the secrets he had held for 5 years, recounting them with a clarity and precision akin to that of the eagle on his buckle. That's why that's important, I guess, part of the story. While at Naivasha prison, Ngugi says he kept to himself the dossier that he revealed in court yesterday, saying that the fact that he was used actually agonized him. It was my secret deep in my heart. I know I am now not afraid, not like before when I talked about it. A lot of things my lawyer did not know. He testified that when news that lawyer Kimani, his client, and a driver were killed emerged, he was not worried. He said the night they were killed, he had been made to believe they were car thieves by now other officers. As the court closed the hearing, Ngugi painted a picture of a police force gone rogue and bad blood between general police officers and their AP counterparts, who he referred to as Polisi wa Chifu. He testified that Leliman, Mwangi, Chaburet and Wajiro were APs, while others who were in the murder plot but were never charged were from the general police unit. According to him, when the four were arrested in relation to the murder, he was least worried as he believed that people who were killed and dumped in Old Donyo Sabuk River were thieves. So you see now,
even you, these are just thieves that we executed.
Yes, this is what they were told. This is the understanding that everybody had. From the AP side of things, the general police, they knew these guys were car thieves. That's why we got rid of them. He didn't actually think anything of it. He claimed the two bodies loaded into the car at the murder scene on Mombasa Road, that he saw them. He placed Kamau at the center of the murder. According to him, he received instructions from Kamau and had the officers' 2 mobile numbers. So nothing was being hidden from him at that point. Only thing was that they were car thieves. He testified that he heard that the other officers had been arrested. He knew it had nothing to do with this particular mission that he had been involved in. Kamau's mobile number data was read to him and showed that they were together at Old Donyo, where the bodies of the deceased were dumped. If Kamau was arrested, I would have known it was about the killing of the car thieves, but he was not. He also mentioned Police Constable Charles Waweru, another he identified as Moneki, and a third one nicknamed as Waingo, as officers who were not in court but linked to the murder. So this is what he did yesterday. Testified name after name after name of police officers in the AP unit, in the general police unit, who were involved in this and others. That was just normal to him. So these things had previously happened. This case now was nothing different because it was normal. And this is why he was saying, I wasn't even afraid because this was the practice.
You know what
Every
I'm-
time bodies were dumped or people were killed, it was because it was a mission to get rid of criminals. So this was no different for them. And this is a normal state of things. And even now, as he's testifying in court yesterday before Lesit, there's nothing for him to be afraid of because this is normal practice.
So this guy, he was what, a police informer?
Yes. He was hired as one in 2009.
Hired by who?
The police themselves, to kind of tell him.
Like he's on a proper payroll, so it's a criminal informant.
Yes.
But then, if he's a criminal informant, how is he involved in the murder and all?
Remember, he was the one who had been asked to actually trail these people.
His job was to be undercover.
Yes. To follow them.
Aye.
So this murder, it's more than the 4 who are in the dock right now, according to him.
And he had been offered 30,000 shillings to do what?
To be this informer. A business for his wife, 30,000 shillings, and there was one other thing, a free
so
house.
that he can rat the others.
Yes. Basically, point the spotlight on these particular...
On the co-accused.
Yes.
And leave some people
out. But now he's like, you know what? I've come to realize that it was a lot more than I was aware of at that time. And now I'm just going to say what the case is. And now he is a state witness.
Well, he realizes, of course, that the moment he just walks out of all these things...
He's a goner.
Yep. He knows. He knows his goose is cooked. Unless, of course, there's some serious witness protection program that is in place that will actually keep him away from rogue police officers.
According to him, there is an unnamed 4th officer who he handed the car that was dumped at Limuru. His profile and revelations in court also opened the lid on operations of police informers. A Standard 4 dropout Ngugi had been a thriving second-hand cloth dealer in operating Kawangware. He had started another wing of the same business in Syokimau after he met Lele. The new wing retailed hawking jeans to revelers in the area. His task was to spy on thieves at the same area. But it ended up with more tasks such as driving the vehicle towards Kamiridu and dumping the bodies. So he was involved in this process.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're an informer, but then you're also involved in the actual execution of the operations.
And all they did was feed him information that these folks, they're thieves, they're criminals.
Oh, it's an Amaliza. This one is it's getting messier and messier.
Yeah.
27 minutes to 7. Let's take a quick break. Take a look at the traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Guys, dinner is ready.
Please pass the chicken.
Wow, Mom, the chicken looks yummy. Can't wait to dig in.
Without a doubt, Kenchik chicken is usually the star attraction on dinner tables across Kenya because we place the highest priority on the health of the chicken we farm and the goodness of the food we provide. This is strengthened by our absolute certainty of traceability from our farm to your family. Kenchik, we are cuckoo about tasty chicken.
This is something people need to understand. Your money, my money, equals our money. We cannot have your money is our money and my money is my money.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
Classic soul, R&B,
All right, we're
smooth
looking
jazz.
at the bulk of traffic this morning on Haile Selassie getting into the city. Landis Road, not too bad this morning, just pockets and pockets here and there, getting towards the Kamkunji roundabout. Jogga Road is looking pretty good for the first time in a while. Just a little bit of traffic past the Makadara train station as you head then towards the... What is that thing called that people walk on top?
footbridge.
Yeah, thank you very much. That one. That's where we have a little bit of traffic. Mombasa Road is actually not looking very bad this morning. Langata Road, there's not an inch of traffic, and that's a wonderful thing. Thika Superhighway looking pretty good. So it seems that folks have exited the city, eh? There's not much drama going on. We'll keep an eye on things for you this morning. A few minutes after 6:30, let's see what it looks like in about half hour. Don't forget, some rain still in some parts of the city, so roads are slippery. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127.
So it's Christmas season, right? Just how many days to Christmas?
2.
2.
Today is what, 22nd? 3. 1, 2.
Yeah, so yes, those many days to Christmas. What better way to spend your Christmas indoors or wherever, even if you're traveling, wherever you are, than just by having your entertainment coming with you wherever you go. So whether it's sports entertainment, whether it's, sports, whether it's movies, documentaries or series or, your favorite shows, you go with them wherever you are on Showmax, because Showmax, you can watch it on your mobile device. You can actually sign up to Showmax on 5 different devices and watch on 2 different devices at the same time. How's about that?
2 at the same time. You can watch football here and watch your series marathon back and forth like this.
Yes. You can put 2 at the same time. So you're watching a live game and you're watching a series.
I'm liking this thing.
Eh?
It sounds like a
And you
plan.
put your attention right there. Sindio? Yeah, just head on to www.showmax.com. That's www.showmax.com. Get more details on how you can subscribe. Choose the package that you'd like to subscribe to. And, just head on there and enjoy all your entertainment.
Spice FM, Malindi. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Okay, I have
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Let's start with Embu. A man and his son engaged in accusations and counter-accusation in an assault case before an Embu court. The magistrate had to intervene as 81-year-old Kariuki Njue traded accusations with his 55-year-old son Peter Mureithi, who was charged with assaulting the father. Both ex-police officers accused each other of plotting to eliminate the other. This is father and son, both former cops. Son is 55, father is 81, and they've gone to court because father has accused the son of assaulting him. And then both of them are now trading accusations that, no, you wanted to kill me. 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 The son is accused of assaulting his father after the old man stopped him from harvesting his brother's macadamia without permission. Njue was giving evidence against his son, who allegedly assaulted and injured him. Mureithi is accused of hitting his father on July 2nd, this year at around 5 p.m. in Embu County with a wooden bar. Njue narrated how he was called and informed that Mureithi was harvesting macadamia from his last-born son's farm. He told the court that his son turned violent when he asked him why he was harvesting his brother's macadamia without permission. It's then that Mureithi turned against him with a wooden bar. However, Kariuki is accusing his father of failing to subdivide land to enable him to cultivate, but Njue is accusing him of alcoholism and being a nuisance in the family. So he's saying, you're telling me I was going to harvest macadamia. Show me my plot.
I need mine.
I need mine. He's told you when you live. That is one court case. Okay? Still in Embu. This one is sad. A court in Embu has found a Form 4 student guilty of defilement and sentenced him to 7 years in prison. Brian Muthui defiled a 16-year-old Form 1 girl on August 23rd last year. In Embu West, he faced an alternative charge of committing an indecent act with a child. Giving her verdict, Embu Senior Resident Magistrate Juliana Ndengeri said whereas the court considered the accused a secondary school student and in his final year, the options were limited because the law provides for a minimum sentence. She said the court's attempt to balance the rights of the accused, being an adult and a candidate, do not work. However, the rights of the minor, the court said, are paramount at all times. The accused is in school and in his final year. He's an adult and cannot be taken to a Boston institution. So this Form 3 is now above 18.
Yes.
And you can clearly see how, because at 16, the victim was in Form 1.
Yes. But you see, the thing is, whether or not the relationship was consensual, because of the age of consent in this country, it's already been deemed that the victim was defiled.
Yep.
See?
That's number one.
That's number one. Number two, whether or not that they're within the same age bracket then doesn't matter because she's underage.
She's
underage. You see?
However, it is now that he's above 18. When he was defiling her, he probably wasn't.
Yeah, he had not finished. Even here, what his lawyer is saying is that he has not finished Form 4. He's just about to finish Form 4 at the time of this sentencing.
He has not finished, but he's above 18.
Yeah, he's above 18, but he has not finished.
So now that he's being sentenced, he cannot be taken to a bostel because bostels are for children.
Exactly.
So he has to go to proper prison.
Yeah.
And the judge has their hands tied because there's a minimum sentence.
Which is
required,
what she said, right?
Mandatory minimum sentence.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that judicial officers have been talking about forever.
Yes.
And there's been a team formed to review this, and it's taking forever to actually come back. As it's taking all this long, this is what's happening.
Exactly. This is where it becomes very, very sticky here. Because you're not even looking at the details of this particular case. I mean, for this, we're not looking at the details in terms of what happened along the way. Was it consensual? Maybe today, are they still in communication?
Yep.
Who was bringing forward the case? Was it her? Was it her parents on her behalf? Was it somebody, her guardian, whatever? Would it be said that they're still in a relationship?
Was it a Romeo and Juliet case?
You see? But it becomes really sticky because you heard even from what the magistrate is saying, almost as though she's almost sorry.
Yeah.
But because I have to,
my hands are tied.
According to the law, I would have done something with a little bit more leniency.
I have to sentence you, and because you're above 18, I have to send you to prison.
Can you imagine?
And you have to go there for how many years?
7.
7 years.
I think it behoves...
The system is failing.
It is. It really is.
It is failing.
It really is.
And the team that is established that's looking at this by the Attorney General is taking a bit too long to actually come back and correct this. Because even once this is done, this gentleman has basically gone to prison. He will spend 7 years in prison. Let's even say he spends 3 years in prison, but he will spend time in prison and come out of that a completely bitter man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. Can I do the final court story?
Yes.
Before we take the break? So there are 2 men here and there's 1 woman. There's a man called SVK. There's a woman called NTA. No. The woman is called something else. Let me just read the story. A man has moved to the Court of Appeal after he was ordered to pay his ex-wife's husband 700,000 shillings for damages. Okay? He is married. The woman was married to a man previously. So this is what happened. He was in a relationship with a woman named ENL. The man is called NTA. Okay? So NTA was in a relationship with a woman called ENL. In 2015, the relationship was cut short because she got married to SVK. So NTA, ENL are in a relationship.
Yeah.
She gets into another relationship with SVK.
And marries
and
him.
she dumps this dude and marries that guy.
Yeah.
The woman gave birth to a daughter 5 months after she got married.
Meaning she was pregnant.
She was already pregnant by the time she was getting married to SVK. But SVK believed that this is his baby. Okay? So, baby is born. SVK is so happy. He is Giriama. He names his first-born daughter after his mother. So the child is named after SVK, the husband's mother.
Yes.
So some time later, a paternity test is done. Paternity shows that SVK is not the father of this girl.
Oh, no.
It is NTA, the previous boyfriend, who is
the father.
This relationship between SVK and his wife now collapses. The woman ENL goes back to her husband, to her boyfriend NTA. And NTA is like, yeah, karibu, this is my child.
Let's do this.
Let's continue. NTA now goes to apply for change of name at the registrar and says, okay, I want the name of the minor changed on the birth certificate to reflect that I am the father. SVK now goes to court and says, this whole issue was perpetrated by the wife and the lover.
They did it intentionally.
To humiliate him.
Oh, come on. Okay.
When she was pregnant, he took care of her. When she went for maternity, he took care of her, took care of the new baby. He took care of the baby. He named the baby after
his mother.
He actually believed that this was his child, and he did everything for the child. And looking back, he's like, so they even had a DNA test done. They confirmed that I'm not the father. Then now they want to change the name. They have told the whole village that I'm not the father, that he's the... This was a whole ploy by these two. And I want damages. Justice Eric Ogola said, yes, you actually suffered humiliation, you suffered mental anguish, and you lost money, you spent money. Took care of the mother and the child and delivery costs. These proceedings have also caused him anguish. The court proceedings, he will continue to suffer mental pain. He is therefore entitled to compensation and damages, 700,000 shillings. And he says, okay, so you two will not pay him immediately, all right? But you'll put half of that amount, 350,000 shillings, in an interest accruing account. And then you shall raise the rest within time. This is the order of the court. All rise. Now, the man, NTA, has gone to the Court of Appeal and said, no, I'm appealing against that judgment.
Me, I can't.
Yeah, this is not fair. This is not fair on me.
What did you say? The guy
Drama, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's just too much going on. My goodness gracious.
Because the man looks back and thinks,
Wait a minute, what is happening here?
So you were in relationship with this guy. I didn't know about it. I married you. You told me that you're pregnant and it's our baby.
And I assumed it was mine.
I assumed it was mine. I took care of you. We got a child. Thereafter, you come back with a DNA result and shows that I'm not the father.
So why did you go ahead and get the DNA without even us having this conversation or maybe talking about possibility?
All along,
this
was your plot that you guys were having. And then now you've gone back to that man.
Just like that.
And you want to come and say, change my mother's name to be somebody. No way.
And I don't have a child anymore.
Yes.
Wow, no, it's not easy now.
And everybody looks at me thinking, Sasa wewe.
What, plotless are you?
What? It's 12 minutes to 7. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
My number one Nairobi life hack, InDriver. It's an app I use to save on rides. With InDriver, I get to negotiate what I'm willing to pay for every trip I take. I love to get the best deal, and that's why I always order my rides with InDriver. I get to choose whether I want a boda ride or a car ride, and I can even choose the car as well. No need to overpay for a better vehicle. Then, I pick my own driver based on their ratings. This means I can feel safer on each ride because I know who's on the wheel. Try InDriver for yourself. Ride smarter and spend smarter. Download the InDriver app on the App Store or on Google Play. The InDriver online passenger transportation aggregator is not a taxi service. Find more information at www.indriver.com.
What makes a man?
I had an advertising job that was toxic. It was difficult. I'm not saying the people were toxic. I don't think anyone is inherently toxic.
Don't ever let someone's perception of you become your reality.
How do we navigate through career, family, and life?
I was an average kid. I wasn't a poor student.
Examining what defines a man.
We derive our identity as men based on external factors, on things that people can be able to see.
A space for men to open their experiences and more. Starting Thursday, 18th November on the Standard Digital YouTube and Facebook page. Hosted by Eric Latiff. What makes a man?
I had an advertising job that was toxic. It was difficult. I'm not saying the people were toxic. I don't think anyone is inherently toxic.
Don't ever let someone's perception of you become your reality.
How do we navigate through career, family, and life?
I was an average kid. I wasn't a poor student.
Examining what defines a man.
We derive our identity as men based on external factors, on things that people can be able to see.
A space for men to open their experiences and more. Starting
9
Thursday,
minutes to 7.
18th November on the Standard.
Okay, Senate in a push to cut loan appetite. This is carried in the business pages of the Standard. So loan appetite by whom then is the question.
Can only be government, is it not?
1 minute. You open things and then you close them. Okay. It's a fresh bid. The members of parliament want the National Treasury barred from borrowing from the Kenyan market in a renewed push to reduce the stock of public debt. During a special sitting to debate the budget policy statement for the 2022-2023 financial year, senators took the National Treasury to task over the government's growing fiscal deficit. The government should be restrained from borrowing from the domestic market because that is denying the private sector and small and medium enterprises credit that they need to survive the tough business environment. This is according to Narok Senator Ledama Olekina. This budget policy statement is utopian and completely unattainable. We are not going to stop you from borrowing because we have no control over what you do. But because Parliament nowadays is a conveyor belt, we want to ensure we can stop you from doing it. We tell you not to borrow from the domestic market. Last month, Auditor General Nancy Gathungu told the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget that Kenya's public debt is progressively increasing and set to cross the approved 9 trillion shilling mark in a few months. So the Senate is saying, you know what, guys?
Yeah.
Sure, you're going to do what you want at the end of the day, but we are going to insist that from the domestic market, do not borrow anymore. Stop it. It's becoming too much. We can't sit here and allow you to continue doing this, whereby there's money that is needed to pump into the local market, to pump into small businesses, and it's not available. And here government is borrowing for recurrent expenditure.
Yeah.
For overheads, the wage bill. That's what we're borrowing to be able to service. Nothing new in terms of development.
It's quite a thingy here because many times the National Treasury has gone to Parliament and said, we want to float a Eurobond, we want to go and do this and the other and borrow from these international markets so that we stop borrowing domestically. We are taking measures so that we can reduce our domestic debt so that we allow SMEs to be able to access local credit. And yet, the government has actually continued borrowing heavily from the domestic market, which ends up crowding out local SMEs, small businesses in the country cannot do it, right? So you ask yourself, I mean, what kind of government are we running?
Nonsense.
Puss.
Nonsense.
Aye,
criminal.
Proper criminal.
I mean.
Kubwa criminal. Well, at the same time, there was a story that I wanted to share here with you. Candidates sitting national exams could pay higher fees because the Kenya National Examinations Council, what you call KNEC, we call it NEC. KNEC, huh? Okay, 6 billion shillings to plug its projected funding deficit. NEC says for the next 5 years, it will require 50 billion shillings against the expected resource allocation of 44.1 billion. The council is also listing major risks that may frustrate its operations, including possible mass walkout of teachers who process national examinations, cheating, political interference, inadequate secretariat staff, and cyber insecurity are among other concerns also listed as major threats to national exams. Mitigating measures will include lobbying for more funds, diversifying sources of funds, and reviewing the examination fees. That's what NEC says in its strategic plan to be unveiled today. So they're going to unveil that today, and they have, in the next 5 years, they're projecting a gap of 6 billion shillings. They have to look for other sources of this gap is because of their allocation from government, budgetary allocation. So they're saying we're going to be receiving a budgetary allocation of 44.1 billion shillings against our targeted budget of 50.6 billion shillings. with all these risks, and we need to mitigate against cybersecurity. We need to think about what happens if we have teachers who mark our exams and process our exams walking out. What else do we have? Political interference, inadequate secretariat staff. All these are major risks that we are going to be facing, and we'll have a funding.
And are these new?
They are not.
Yes.
But they keep improving.
Well, they keep
new and improved cybersecurity threats.
I understand the issue of improvement, but what I'm querying is when you're improving something and you say there's more cost required, that I also understand. But does it justify that huge leap?
In your spending?
Yes, because it may well be that what they're doing is what is necessary and everything they're saying is actually spot on. But the unfortunate thing, that comes smack against the background of situations similar to this one, where there are budgets for certain things. On paper, they seem okay.
Yeah.
Until you start querying them in detail.
Line item by item.
Line item by line item and saying, okay, exactly, you need this amount of money, okay, explain to us, okay? Are you starting from scratch? Are you building on what you already have? And if you're building on what you already have, what are you adding to it? And if you're adding to it, is that the cost that it must bear?
Yeah. That's where the issues come in. And you know who's likely to suffer if they increase exam fees? It's not Standard 8 and Form 4, because those ones are paid by government. It is everybody else who sits a NEC exam, people who go for diploma, higher national diploma, and such.
But Eric, remember, examination, students pay for the examination fees.
Fees, yeah.
But now, the last couple of years, it's being paid by government. That's what the government said. Everybody has pay. Everybody sits an exam.
I am still not convinced. I'll tell you why I'm not convinced. When you look at a fee structure and it's broken down for you, okay? One of the things that smart head teachers used to do, you include examination fees in installment from the time the student is in Form 3. So it's not something that's going to shock you when you get to Form 4. In fact, by the time you get to the first term of your Form 4, that fees has been paid. So I'm asking the question, with all these adjustments in fees and what have you, what really are we dealing with here? I am actually querying everything that they have said here. That's what I'm doing. I'm querying it. Yes. You throw in cyber and then you give it a cost.
Of course. And then you're projecting in the next 5 years, the number of students that will be sitting the exams is going to be rising. Number one. Number two, the number of examination centers is also going to increase. That means that you require to have more invigilators. And you'll be paying them. So the cost of actually managing the exam is going to be higher.
Again, Eric, we have departments of government that deal with understanding and projecting for the population. So again, what is new?
Nothing. It's just their strategic plan. Maybe they're actually taking information from KNBS.
All right.
But there's a 6 billion shillings gap that's going to be plugged by somebody somewhere.
Somebody has to fill it, that's for sure.
Unless you bring in some donor to come and give them that 6 billion, you wait.
I am even querying that. I'm querying that amount.
You're querying the 6B.
I'm querying that 6 billion.
It's okay. We can negotiate and bring it down to 4. Pay.
Even as the clock is running down.
Yes.
There's a plan to use the Huduma number to register voters, and people are shouting.
That's an interesting one.
It's a very interesting one.
We'll discuss it a bit later.
Sawa, sawa.
Kenya's biggest conversation, it continues in the next hour. Let's talk about SMEs, okay? What is it that we can do to leverage tech innovation to drive SME growth in the country? That is leveraging tech innovation to grow SME in the country. This is a conversation we'll be having with someone from SME Link International. A very good morning to you. Keep it right here for more on these and others. It's now 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
2,844 cases of COVID-19, placing a positivity rate at 27.8%. Nairobi has recorded the highest cases at 1,297, followed by Nakuru at 233 and Kiambu 222. One patient has succumbed to the virus, whereas more than 9 million vaccines have been administered, with the proportion of fully vaccinated Kenyans at 13.4%. Meanwhile, COVID-19 has claimed more than 3.3 million lives this year across the world. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom says COVID-19 still continues to claim around 50,000 lives daily across the world every week, even as Africa is now facing a steep wave of infections driven largely by the Omicron variant.
Just a month ago, Africa was reporting its lowest number of cases in 18 months. Last week, it reported the fourth highest number of cases in a single week so far. There is now consistent evidence that Omicron is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant. And it's more likely that people who have been vaccinated or have recovered from COVID-19 could be infected or reinfected.
Adhanom has further called on people across the world to postpone holiday gatherings as they result in another wave and more setbacks.
Increased social mixing over the holiday period in many countries will lead to increased cases, overwhelmed health systems, and more deaths. All of us are sick of this pandemic. All of us want to spend time with friends and family. All of us want to get back to normal. The fastest way to do this is for all of us, leaders and individuals, to make the difficult decisions that must be made to protect ourselves and others. It's better to cancel now and celebrate later than to celebrate now and grieve later.
Still on COVID-19, and you'll not be able to access government services without a COVID-19 certificate. Government spokesperson Sarah Zuguna has reiterated the state's commitment to withhold services for those yet to receive their COVID-19 vaccines. Oguna said unvaccinated Kenyans will only access online government services following the expiry of the month-long deadline. Oguna has called on public service transport operators to be extra careful when ferrying learners from schools who have closed schools for end term this week. He also urged passengers to report reckless drivers to the relevant authorities. These as 3 people died while several others sustained injuries in a fatal road accident along Koma Colonel Road in Machakos County. Kangundo Level 4 Hospital Manager Evayo Loveto said the bodies had been moved to the hospital's mortuary. Witnesses said they died on the spot following a head-on collision between 2 cars. The National Assembly has approved the appointment of Anthony Mwaniki as the chairperson of Public Service Commission. Mwaniki's appointment was made by President Uhuru Kenyatta last month. He currently serves as Kenya's ambassador to Cuba. The post fell vacant following the death of Stephen Kirogo in August this year. The National Assembly also approved the nomination of Caroline Naikena and Thomas Okoth as members of the Gender and Equality Commission. Now, 2 men have been sentenced to life imprisonment after they were found guilty of killing a border operator in Siaya in November 2018. The duo Benjamin Odhiambo and Vincent Awor are said to have run over Ronald Otieno multiple times during the incident. The event transpired after Otieno and his girlfriend Mercy Okinyi had an altercation at a popular Siaya entertainment joint. After the quarrel, Okinyi boarded the suspect's vehicle and they sped off, but Otieno, who was in the company of his brother, opted to pursue them with his motorcycle. Otieno is said to have attempted to bring the vehicle to a halt, but the occupants ignored his advances and rammed his motorcycle from the back. Now, parking fees in Nairobi's Central Business District are set to double if a new motion by City Hall is amended into law. The reintroduction of zonal parking will see motorists pay 400 shillings, up from 200 shillings if they park their vehicles in the city centre and along Kijabi Street. The aforementioned locations are designated as Zone 1, but motorists in Zone 2, which covers areas such as Westlands, Upper Hill, Cape Community, Ngara, High Ridge, Industrial Area, Gigiri, Kilimani, Yaya Centre, Milimani, Hurlingham, Lavington, Karen and Eastleigh will part with 300 shillings instead. For Zone 4, which covers areas bordering other metropolitan counties, motorists will have to cough up 100 shillings for parking. Once the motion is passed, the new parking rates will stand despite a court order obtained by the Consumer Federation of Kenya barring the augmentation of parking fees. Now, the Kenya Meteorological Department has announced that heavy rains will continue until after Christmas. In the latest 7-day weather forecast, Met Department Director Stella Auda said heavy rainfall is likely over parts of highlands east of the Rift Valley, southeastern lowlands, northeastern and the coastal strip. Southeasterly wind with speeds of 25 knots are expected over some parts of the northwestern and northeastern Kenya. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
Coming off Jogo Road is where you'll find some traffic now this morning, and then you're going towards Landis Road out towards Kamkunji. Haile Selassie jam-packed in and outbound, and it's building a little bit on Gong Road this morning. Langata Road free and clear, not an issue here whatsoever, and it's also moving pretty smoothly on Mombasa Road this morning. The Thika Superhighway is not a spot of traffic except right there at the drive-in and then at the Pangani underpass going out towards the city. Everything else flowing really smoothly. I'm liking the looks of this today. Waiyaki Way, looking at the western part of the city, that a little bit of traffic here and there. You don't have to use the Red Hill Link Road because the traffic is not that bad, but should you feel the need to take a drive and enjoy the scenery, then please do use the Red Hill Link Road. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127. It's already moving. Let's keep it that way this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7. A very good morning to you. How are you doing? Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. If you're just joining us, this is the second hour of our show, and we are here until 10 a.m. this day. How many days to Christmas, Ndu?
3.
3 days to Christmas. And this is the 8th day of Christmas. 10th day of Christmas.
Yes.
This is the one that your true love gave you what?
10 lords are leaping.
Right. Right. So let's hear the day's proverb from City.
Kanga hazai ugenini.
Kanga hazai ugenini. And this is not Leso.
No, it isn't Leso. It is Guinea fowl.
Okay.
And it's not Guinea fowl Leso. It is Guinea fowl.
It's not a Leso with a guinea fowl on it.
No.
It is Kanga the guinea fowl.
Yes.
The guinea fowl called Kanga. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Kanga is the guinea fowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So guinea fowl does not do what?
It doesn't go around laying eggs in strange places.
Yes. It doesn't lay eggs anyhowly.
It doesn't lay eggs anyhowly.
Okay.
Yes.
You'll tell us why you picked this particular proverb
I
today.
most certainly will.
Definitely. Let's have a conversation about SMEs and using tech innovation to drive SME growth. Joining us this morning for that conversation is Merywin Kabaru, the Chief Operating Officer at SME Link International. Merywin, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you, Eric.
We call that the hot seat. You're our friend, so we're going to make that just a little bit warm, just to go with the background of the studio, so that it's warm enough and hot enough for you to respond to our questions and answer very many of the questions that I'm sure our listeners have had. When you said that you'll be coming this morning, there are those that were asking, so I'm running an SME, how do I benefit from all these things? How do I leverage tech innovation, and what kind of tech innovation are we talking about? So let's start with definitions. Who is SME Link International?
SME Link International is a digital platform, an online platform that allows SMEs to link together and exposes SMEs to opportunities, both locally and globally. And the international aspect is because the world has become one global community, for lack of a better word. And with disruptors such as COVID, of course, there was an opportunity in doing things digitally. We note that during the COVID dispensation, that quite a lot of business happened on online platforms. And therefore, we as SME Link sat and said, is there a way in which you can bring these SMEs together without being physically together? Is there a way in which, for example, a farmer who is in Namanga does not have to bring the produce to Marikiti for somebody in Bisil to go buy that produce? So the essence of SME Link is to expose SMEs to opportunities. And not only in Kenya, but you're looking at a global perspective. A lot of raw materials are imported, say, from China, hypothetically, or a lot of people import things from China. They have to go through middlemen. Is there a way in which we can be able to bridge that gap? SMEs normally, and I think it's just human nature, when you do not know how to do something, you're quite fearful. Very few people are brave enough to catch a flight, for example, and go to China. So is there a way they can go into a database where they can be able to meet suppliers of the products that they need? So basically what SME Link is doing is that not only is it allowing businesses to do business together and to know about each other, but we'll also have different partners. For example, funders. One of the key struggles of SMEs is financing. Every SME you hear, they're saying, I don't have money, my debtors are not paying me, my creditors are harassing me for earlier payment. So there's a big gap in that trade cycle. Therefore, they need facilities. But when they go to the bank, sometimes you find the requirements for you to get a loan, it's quite painful. Right? It's like your tooth being plucked from your gum without any anesthesia, to use that.
Using a pliers.
Using a pliers, actually. So what happens is that we have institutions, we have joint ventures who will want to come and partner with you. They'll see an opportunity in your business and they'll say, let me come and partner with you and support you. We also have equity partners, people who want to come and buy shareholding in your company, and they will be able to say, I'm ready to take the risk with you. However, this is going to be my return. I want to be in your business forever, or I want to be in your business for a certain period of time. We have venture capitalists who come and look at the business and they're like, I would like to invest in this, but with a guaranteed return. And with this also comes additional knowledge, technology, different know-how on how to do things. If you look at the agricultural space, a lot is going the tech way. If you're looking at, I know some SMEs that have been funded by equity partners, people have come and bought shareholding, and with that came a lot of technology from Netherlands, because we know that's where a lot of dairy farming happens. And what this does is that it reduces cost for the farmer. In addition to that, it allows the farmer to benefit from different ways of doing things. Now, within the SME Link portal, say, for example, we know in River Road, there are people who normally come together, business people come together because they don't have the capacity of affording a container. They come together, they buy products together, load it in a container, therefore that's one container. They have an institution like SGS, which is actually going to check on the quality and the product that was meant to be brought in. And then on top of that, they'll use one travel agent. So that means that there's division of costs. So there are competitive advantages like those. We'll also have partners. We are going to work with partners such as EU, the World Bank, Google, who are asking themselves, we want to get access to these SMEs, but we don't know where to start from. And the contemporary way of getting access to the SMEs is, for example, you hold a town hall, or you have a meeting or a conference, bring them together. So that movement, we are going to be a repository for SMEs, where when you log into the portal, first and foremost, you put in your name as the director, you have the opportunity of even putting in 10 of your businesses. And out of those businesses, you're going to be talking about the industry that you are in. You're going to be talking about the size of your SME, because the categorization of SMEs is based on industry, is based on the size, is based on the turnover. Because we have the micro SMEs, the small SMEs, the medium SMEs, the large SMEs who are moving on to corporate. And all these SMEs, there's an institution that wants to deal with them. And therefore, we shall be able to link these SMEs to those institutions that want to offer them either technical advice, financing. They want to get information to figure out how they're going to work with them. We have a lot of focus from government on SMEs. We saw that actually in Kenya, we have over 7.4 million SMEs. And it actually provides 40% of our GDP. And it is our key employer. Therefore, with COVID, what happened? A lot of SMEs closed down. A lot of SMEs had to actually diversify. A lot of SMEs, because of course of the restriction hours, you found that some SMEs like in tourism and entertainment, they really suffered. And therefore the conversation is, how can we be able to support you? And we saw measures from the government to step in and try and support these SMEs.
Yep.
And but therefore, the government is asking, we have all these SMEs, but how can we get in touch with them?
How can we deal with them?
Yes, so
on a
therefore,
regular basis?
a simple digital application. You go to the link, you log in, it just takes you less than a minute.
So what is this then? SME Link?
Yes.
You said it's a portal.
Yes.
Is it a website? Is it an app? Is it accessible via USSD code? How do SMEs access this?
We are growing into USSD code. Of course, because if you're talking about going global, then we have to have a lot of capacity. So the technical aspect is what we are working on.
Okay.
But it's a link. It's as simple as going to www.smelink.app. From there, it just puts you into the landing page and you're able to log in and register yourself as a business person. So SME Link is basically not only to benefit SMEs to do business together and to network with each other, but also offer them opportunities to meet with financiers, collaborative measures, partners, know the events that are happening. And one of the things that we actually felt is that a lot of SMEs, there's something called key man risk. Key man risk is when, the SME person is the CEO, he's the marketing director, he's the debt collector, he's everything. And when this person is either sick or incapacitated or passes on, God forbid, like right now with COVID, we call that key man risk, where the key person in the business dies, the business actually dies, and we've seen that a lot. And therefore, we are having something called a portal, a place within our portal where directors who have got skills, people who've got skills and competencies who want to play a role in supporting SMEs, are able to put themselves out there and say, I would not mind being in a board, okay, where I can be able to offer these skills and expertise. So the digital element also over there is whereby SMEs are also going to be learning a lot about the things that are actually going to be helping them to do better, to be better, to be aware of the opportunities that are around them locally and internationally.
So apart from this clear one of previous lack of like networking and being able to come together, what are some of the other challenges that you see SMEs have that this would be able to start to tackle?
Okay. So part of the challenges that SMEs have, of course, first of all, is network markets. Access to markets. So we are saying within SME Link, people will be able to look for your products and services within the portal and therefore give you access to markets, not only locally, but globally. Let's look at something like agribusiness. You could be an avocado farmer, but your contemporary way, everybody wants to go and take the avocados through a circle to a particular place. Are there other institutions or are there other countries that can be able to take your avocados? So you're increasing the opportunity for market. Also for raw materials, access to raw materials is a struggle. So are there other places you can be able to go and get your raw materials at a more affordable rate? Most people think that the cheapest place to get your product is, for example, China. But Turkey is emerging as a very key supplier in terms of quality and in terms of affordability. But if as an SME, I want to know, you can imagine when I go and Google companies in Turkey that do this, it becomes very hard for the SME to be able to know who to deal with. And as these SMEs join the portal, there's something called a credibility score. And the credibility score measures you in terms of you as a business, are you legitimate? So there's a legitimacy score. There's also a technicality score. What association are you affiliated with? If, for example, you're in HR, you need to be part of IHRM. If you're in accounting, you need to be, either with ACCA, if you're locally, or ISPAC. So that credibility score makes it easy for somebody to come and say, this company has a credibility score of 80% and another one has a credibility score of 30%. So I'm able to deal with the company that has a credibility score of 80%. Then, in terms of financing, we are saying that SMEs, they struggle with financing. And the reason is because there's a gap in something we call the trade cycle. Between the time you start either producing or offering the service, to the time you supply it, to the time you collect from your debtor, to the time you pay your creditor, who is the person you owe, and the debtor is the person who owes you, there is a gap in between there. And therefore, the SME, first and foremost, can be able to benefit from institutions that are able to come and support. Sometimes it is not a typical loan that you need. Sometimes you need trade products. And these trade products sometimes do not even need you to have security. They just need the financier to be able to understand the cycle and say, I'm able to give you this facility. I'll not give you the money. If, for example, you're an alcohol distributor, they'll not give you the money, they'll send the money to EABL. You go and collect the goods. Then it says, normally between collection and you getting paid by the people you supply to, it takes about 90 days. Yep. So they tie it within a trade cycle. And most of the time when you go to a contemporary bank, they ask you for collateral, but you do not have that collateral. So even as you check in, you're meant to say, you're a business. Are you in it to look for opportunities, or are you within the portal now? Are you a business looking for opportunities, or are you a business looking for funding? And if you're a business looking for funding, we add another score called financial score. Credibility score. And the cliche things that are normally asked are, do you have a bank statement? Of course, you need to have a bank statement. Do you have a permit, or are you registered? Those are part of the things. Out of the 7 million SMEs that are out here, only 1.5 of them are registered, which means that...
Registered means what?
Registered means either you are incorporated, or you have a business. Okay, of course, you could be having your business name. Are you a limited liability company? Things like those. So by the time you're coming to the bank, you already, that credibility score will show you. If you don't have bank statements, you're not ready to go borrow money. If you do not have a KRA PIN, you're not ready to go borrow money. If you've never been tax compliant, then it means by the time you're going to the financier, they're telling you you're not tax compliant, therefore we cannot lend to you. So that credibility score, when these financiers are coming to approach us, they're going to say, do you have micro SMEs that are at least registered, worst case scenario? If you have SMEs that are not tax compliant, there are so many service providers out here who are able to come and train them on the importance of tax compliance. So back to your question, we are talking about financing, we are talking about accessibility to markets. We're also talking about technical expertise. There's a lot of technical expertise over there that SMEs are not tapping into. How can they be able to be supported in terms of technical expertise? We're also talking about government regulations. Sometimes you find that the government sometimes has a knee-jerk reaction. It wakes up in the morning and changes things. I remember there is a lady who I give you a small incident. I was going to do my nails somewhere. And then the lady texts me and tells me, KRA people are here and they are saying that because we have put those banners and posters on our doors, we need to pay for them. Did they have the knowledge? They didn't have the knowledge. So the SME is not intentionally avoiding or refusing to pay tax. But because they don't have that knowledge, can they be sensitized and taught on what needs to be done? Because on that day, my nail technician was not able to work the whole day. You see? And it was not only her, it was the whole place where everybody had closed down, meaning that on that day, those SMEs did not make money. However, if there was proactivity in educating them and teaching them that these are the things that need to be done, these are the taxes you need to do. Even as a business person, before you go in, you're not going in blindly. You know these are part of the costs that you need to incur.
So this portal offers that information?
This portal...
Or links you to...
Links you because you're going to have different partners. So say, for example, you're having tax challenges and you don't know how to go about it, or you do not know about tax. We'll have partners who will come in and say, we'd like to have a webinar and train these SMEs on matters tax. If you're talking about different things, whatever is happening, government policies, there are so many government policies that are happening out there. For example, I'm just thinking, there's so many things that are always happening within the SME space. Do these SMEs that are affected know about them? These concessions that the government has put in place, these things that the government is out to support. So we are going to have a part within our portal where it's going to be like a knowledge hub. Like a knowledge hub. Where you can be able to go there and see what works for you. We also have somewhere called groups. And that part called groups acts like Quora, where you can be able to go and have your discussions. So say, for example, you can ask, what is the implication of tax on a business or on intellectual information? You know, most people do not know. So you can be able to go there, and the person who gives the best answer, and it is voted, that is going to be pinned as the best answer. So you have an opportunity also to go in there and have those kind of discussions and leverage on them. There are so many events that are happening. Are SMEs aware of those events? Like there was an East African community conference that was happening in Tanzania where a lot of SMEs were being brought together. Are we sure that all the SMEs which fit within that space knew about them and were able to attend? The gap of knowledge is going to be bridged within that space. And remember, for us, we are not allowing you to transact. What we are saying is Shiro meet Eric. And we are going to get that information within the portal so that when you're searching based on industry, based on capacity, based on how many employees are there, you're able to know this business, can it be able to give me my 20 tons of onions or can it only be able to give me my 5 tons of onions?
So how much do I pay? So
it is free.
I've just registered.
Yes.
I'm on the portal.
Yes.
And it's telling me to add businesses, so I can also.
So you can add even 10 businesses because remember, SMEs have diversified.
Right.
You're not only going to be a farmer, probably you're a farmer on this other end, you have a hardware shop on this other end, and you're so diverse. So you are allowed to even add more than 10
add
businesses.
All your businesses.
Add all your businesses, and as you add the businesses, you're clearly saying, this is the industry I am in, this is what I do. And then based on the number of employees, even the people who need to know about your business, they'll be able to know the capacity.
So then after I've added the businesses, what happens next?
So what happens next is that you're able to get services. For example, you're able to go and have your discussions. People are able to come and even search for you and look at your businesses. So there's a personal directory and a group directory, a business directory. In the business directory, you're able to go and see the businesses that are there and you're able to connect with them. So once you connect, it means that you're able to start engaging with each other on a personal basis. And if it is a business directory, you're able to engage with each other on a business basis. So business to business, B2B, and there's also B2C, business to consumer, or business to individual, or individual to individual.
Connect. What does connect mean? Once I've logged in, I've registered my business, then I see other businesses, and then you're saying I'm able to connect. What does connect mean?
So okay, at this point in time, we are still building capacity within the portal. But essentially, when we say we are able to connect with you, it means, for example, as Shiro, I'm able to connect with Eric. Eric accepts my connection. Then I'm able to see a lot of information about Eric. Eric will also be able to upload his profile there. So I'm able to go and see what Eric is able to offer me. There's a reason why I'm seeking to connect with Eric. And the system will have a logarithm or algorithm which is going to sensitize and say, since you liked Eric, you will also probably want to know
other businesses that are aligned.
Other businesses that are aligned.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then even as we... How then, what's the relationship between developing skills, development skills, and digital skills now then when it comes to SME growth? Because you've talked about this being a place whereby you can come and network, but it also gives you an opportunity to develop skills. There are things you don't know as an SME. There are things you don't know about tax. There are things you don't know about government policy that has been brought in. So those are obviously some skill knowledge that you need to have. So now what's the difference between those that will help you develop and now these digital business tools which you clearly need as well, or skills?
So the digital tools, they're different. Okay, when I look at it, basically what you're asking is how can an SME leverage on the digital, other than the digital platform, how else can SMEs benefit in terms of being in the digital space? Now, first and foremost, it's very interesting that during the COVID space, digital business grew by 38%. Okay? And we have people going the digital way in terms of marketing. So what is it you as an SME can be able to benefit from going digital? Let me start from that. First and foremost, you're increasing your market scope without human interface. It means that those salespeople who you always have over there, maybe a pool of 10 people, 10 salespeople, you need to pull them out from sales, send them out to collection, because through being in the system, through being in a digital space, you're able to increase your markets. You can also benefit in terms of you can also benefit in terms of enjoying tools. For example, like we have a lot of trainings happening in the digital space. We have Google coming in to train these SMEs. Okay, we have so many people having webinars over there. So these webinars are not only for sales. You as an SME, you're able to go there and see, does this webinar affect my business in a positive way, and can I be able to go and benefit from it? You're also able to reduce your turnaround cycle. When I say turnaround cycle, there are so many applications within the digital space. For example, in customer service, in invoicing. Instead of you having somebody physically leave Nairobi to go to Bungoma, you're able to do that digitally. The system is able to auto-populate itself. So there, you're saving in terms of cost. You have good, credible records that are going to support you. In addition to that, we can look at the digital space in terms of financing. There are a lot of digital applications that are supporting in terms of financing. In addition to that, I no longer have to wake up and go to the bank to put in money, right? I can just go to my Lipa na M-Pesa, put money in the bank. So when you're telling these SMEs, stop holding your money in M-Pesa, put the money in the bank, it does not involve them leaving their business to go there. They're saving on time, they're saving on expense, and they're growing their records. In addition to that, higher revenues, because of course the processes are simplified, you need a lower workforce, increased productivity, okay? You're able also to use project management tools which are within the digital space. You're also able to do email marketing, cost saving in terms of marketing, and you can also, we are seeing a lot of partnership with influencers. I don't know whether you've seen the rise of influencers within this digital space. Now, influencers can be good and bad. So it is up to you to vet, does this influencer align with your business in terms of value, in terms of character? Are they representing your brand? But influencers are also very important because they come with their following. If you have 1 million followers, if only 10% of them take your product or 1% of them, that's huge. So in terms of the digital space, a lot of SMEs can benefit in terms of that. It also increases agility. I mean, today you wake up and you decide you want to launch a product. You just need to go into if you have basic digital knowledge, you're able to go and create a simple poster. Put it in a Facebook group or put it in Instagram, Pay, for example, through Facebook and boost. So even within the SME link portal, those are the add-ons that we are working on so that you as an SME can be able to come and market within that profile. And the reach will not only be local, it will also be global.
Okay, let's take a break. It's 28 minutes actually to 8 o'clock. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. In the studio with us is Marian Kabaru. She is the Chief Operating Officer for SME Link International. We are talking about leveraging tech innovation to drive SME growth. You can check them out. This is www.smelink.app. And you register and then you're able to get all the other information that we are talking about this morning. We'll be back shortly after this quick break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. "24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver. The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution
is rotten. It is based
Cloudy
on
conditions
ideas.
in Nairobi and sprinkle continues in some parts. Highs of 24 and lows of 15 today. Partly sunny at 15 in Nakuru. Highs of 24 and lows of 15. 15 will be the low in Nyeri, where it's cloudy at 15. Highs of 22. Eldoret this morning will see mostly sunny conditions at 16. Highs of 24 and lows of 14. We're looking at partly sunny conditions in Mombasa at 26. Highs of 29 and lows of 24. Malindi is sunny at 26. Highs of 30 and lows of 25. Kisumu is partly sunny at 21, highs of 31, back down to lows of 20. And in Kakamega, it's partly sunny at 20, highs of 30 and lows of 17. In Kampala, it's raining still at 24, highs of 27 and lows of 19. And it's sunny in Dar es Salaam at 27, highs of 31 and lows of 26. Looking at sunny conditions at 16 in Johannesburg, highs of 23 and lows of 14. While in Lagos, it is clear at 23, highs of 34 today. 32 will be the high in Kinshasa, where it's clear at 23. It'll come down to that low today.
Spice up your life.
Okay, a little bit of traffic around the whole industrial area. Looking at Langatro, it looks pretty good and not much there. Most of the traffic is in the CBD this morning, Landis Road specifically, then going on to Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie inbound and a little bit of outbound traffic as well. That still continues. Thika Superhighway did not have too much of an issue there today, except just after Pangani as you go towards the city. It's going to slow down a little bit for you at the connection between Pangani and Juja Road. But apart from that, doesn't look too bad. Ring Road Ngara looks pretty good today. Muranga Road then getting towards the Globe Cinema overpass. That slows down just a bit. Folks getting into the CBD. Coming out of Western's looking much better than before. But apart from that, guys, traffic looks pretty good. A few minutes after 7:30. Let's take a look in about half hour, see what it looks like. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
It's Christmas season once again. Let's talk about that and talk about how you can access and gift yourself unlimited entertainment on Showmax. www.showmax.com. This is where you log on and you're able then to select any of your preferred packages from Showmax. You can choose between Showmax, Showmax Mobile, Showmax Pro, or Showmax Pro Mobile, and you get access to live sports, live news, or you get access to all this entertainment, including series, your favorite shows, your favorite movies or documentaries. All these available on your Showmax, and then you get it to any 5 different devices. You can watch on 2 at the same time. Showmax is basically the way to spend your Christmas. These cold days like this. And you're wondering, okay, I'm not going anywhere, I'm traveling. If you're not going anywhere, Showmax. If you're traveling, Showmax. While you're on the road, Showmax. You're on the plane, Showmax.
There's a plan with the plan.
On the train and it gets stuck somewhere in Muhoroni, Showmax. It's the way to go. www.showmax.com.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And the conversation continues, talking about SMEs leveraging on innovation and tech so that the SMEs can grow. www.smelink.app. I see Kennedy Rioba is asking what's the link. SMElink.app. And joining us in the studio is the SME Link International COO, Merywin Kabaru. We're talking about all the opportunities that SMEs can, take advantage of on digital platforms. There are very many SMEs that are on digital.
Yes.
Okay. Many are already digital based. So if they come onto the app, onto the platform, are they able to link their business profiles? Say one is running a business entirely on Facebook or on Instagram. Are they able to link that on the app?
Well, of course, at this point in time, not yet, because as I told you, we are in the process of increasing
it's work
the
in progress.
capacity.
It's growth.
It's
You're
growth.
in the growth
and
phase.
It's it's growth and how we want to do it, because everybody, because of space limitations, we don't want people coming to put very huge content there. So what we are going to do is you're going to have we are going to have a place where you can auto-populate about your business, okay? So you're going to go and say you deal you're a farmer, hypothetically. I like farming. I like to talk a lot about farming. Or let me talk about trade. I'm a farmer. Farmer,
yes.
Right? So I've harvested. So generally this season I was doing garlic. So I'm able to go and say I was a garlic farmer. So I put in my name. I put in the trading name. I may be trading as an individual because remember, you could be a sole proprietor, could be a limited company, you could be two of you, whatever it is, however you want to be recognized. Then you're able to put the details like you're in garlic farming, you want to sell 10 tons. So the way you can go, for example, to LinkedIn and put in those keywords.
Yeah.
Then the system has search engine optimization where it's going to suggest people who are looking for the same thing and bring you together. So we are not yet there. We are heading there. But it's important to know that probably by end of January, all those facilities are going to be there. But the starting point is for you to be within the SME Link app. The fact that you go there, you say you're in this particular industry, you're in farming, that already gives you a profile which can also be able to match you to other supporters of your business. Not only people who want to do business with you, but also people who want to support your business. I'll give you an example. We know the government gave out 3 billion to support COVID, SMEs in COVID. The EU also gave money to banks like Equity, DTB, and I think Cooperative Bank, if I'm not wrong. But do you know out of these 3 billion that the government gave, only 700 million has been disbursed?
Why?
Now, only 700 million has been disbursed because first and foremost, you have to be registered.
Yep.
You have to have bank statements.
Yep.
Okay? And you do not need to be listed in CRB. Fortunately, within this dispensation, if you're not listed in CRB, if your debt is less than 5 million, then you're not going to be charged for that. So the question is that what is it that's stopping these SMEs from going to access
money that is available?
First and foremost, do they know about it? So within our portal, we are going to have a space where we'll be talking about such things for free. Because there's a gap.
Yeah.
The truth is that there's a gap. Okay? Then before I come there, I need to know, do I have these things? Do I have these documents? I worked in the bank for a period of 15 years, first and foremost. And that's why I'm very passionate about SMEs, because I've done personal banking and I've done SMEs. And during my stint, I even gave loans worth billions. And you find that somebody comes with very good M-Pesa statements, but are M-Pesa statements
accepted by banks?
Accepted by institutions. How many institutions accept M-Pesa statements? Very few. They can add them as supporting, but at minimal, you need to have statements. Okay? So looking at the link and those features, we are able to correlate. We're able to correlate and say, other than bringing businesses together, because a lot of these portals bring businesses together, we are not allowing you to trade. Once you go and see this person has got a good credibility score, it's you as Eric to go and do and
so you can take the business offline.
You can take the business offline.
Okay.
Because again, we don't want to be part of the people who are putting payment portals and all that. That moves us from our core, which is actually to support SMEs to get to know each other locally and globally, and to expose them to these financiers who will be within our portal, to expose them to institutions, for example, like the UNDP, Google, who are giving out a lot of money to support SMEs in the digital space. Recently, was it Google or Microsoft? I think Google gave $10 million to SMEs in Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, and
it was Google.
Yes, it was Google.
Yeah.
And that 10 million, actually part of it is going to be going to Safaricom to ensure that SMEs have got smartphones. So through that, remember our internet penetration is quite high in Kenya. In fact, we are one of the best. You're probably at 80%. Even in the village, wherever, you'll always find somebody is able to go on the net. Maybe it may not be so good, but at least the presence is there. So Google is saying, can people be able to digitize this? Once you're able to digitize and somebody has a smartphone, you're able to go into your Facebook and market. Do SMEs know about this? Once you know about this, and you know the minimum you need to have is your two statements over there, you need to have your KRA PIN, you start being woke. So that by the time that opportunity comes, you're ready for it. Opportunity favors a prepared mind.
Sure.
Are these SMEs prepared?
Something that was on my mind
Yes.
as I was listening to you talk, I wanted to ask, maybe my colleagues have already asked in my absence. So is this philanthropy?
No. Well, the first step, of course, is for us to acquire the SMEs. Okay, because through acquisition of the SMEs, we'll have a repository for data, and we'll be able to customize those products, and we are going to work with partners who are going to be able to come and support. You understand?
Yeah.
So through those partners who are going to be able, we are saying let the SME enjoy their cake. Let these partners, even if it is to pay something small, to be able to get access, to be able to support, then that is the direction we want to take. So we are not going to the SMEs to ask them to
SMEs will not pay to
at
use
the point
platform.
of logging in. But then there are certain facilities and products within the portal that you will need to pay for. For example, you want to market globally. Okay, you've done it on Facebook, but you want to market globally. Even within a place like Facebook, you need to pay to boost your numbers. It can go generically.
Yeah.
But for you to increase your reach to 1,000 people, for you to increase your reach globally, there is
You'll
an
pay something.
that you'll need to pay for. Isn't it so? There are different people who will be coming to offer trainings. For example, you're a tax advisor. Okay? For that tax advisor to access our 10,000 SMEs for a webinar, who is hoping at least 100 or 1,000 are going to come and look for his services, that tax advisor will need to come and pay something to be able to be within the portal. But the thing is this, we do not want to put that heavy burden on the SMEs. We want to work with our partners to be able to provide these solutions to the SMEs so that the SMEs can feel the relevance. Yeah. I don't know whether I've answered you.
Wonderfully so.
One of the things that often would be the monkey on the shoulder is communication, or people not knowing. And I know you've alluded to that a little bit. But we see that there are many wonderful things happening.
Yes.
But the problem being that people just do not know about it. Like now, for example, 3 billion shillings from government, 700,000 shillings?
700 million.
700 million shillings has been
deficit of about 2.3.
2.3 billion shillings. I dare say it's not only because people are not registered that they're not on
They
it,
also
but
don't know.
because people do not know.
Yes.
So communication is key in all of this. How are you going to go beyond that particular hurdle?
So that's why we are saying within our portal, we are going to have a space which is going to be a repository for information, where if you go there and you click on tax, search tax, it will bring you everything on tax. If you're clicking on loans, it will give you anything on loans. If you are clicking on, we are going to have that repository. Therefore, by virtue of you being in SME Link, remember, you can just be there to connect with people and do your business and learn. It is okay. Because one day you're going to grow from a micro SME into a small SME. The small SME will grow into a mid SME. The medium SME will grow into a large SME. And for every SME, there is somebody who wants them. Believe it or not. Even that Mama Mboga, there are groups that provide financing. There are institutions that provide financing in groups. So we are a group of 10. And therefore, it's like a merry-go-round, for lack of a better word. Where this time round, if you're given 100,000, each of you takes 10,000, you guarantee each other. You understand?
Yep.
Now, do these SMEs know about that? So if these people who are providing these services can be able to come to our platform, market their product there, the SMEs within the platform are going to know about it. I'll give you an example. One of the things that we want, one of the things we want to do, information is power. And the more informed you are, the better things are for you. Because one, you have diversity of options. You have agility to do things a different way. Because mediocrity is doing the same thing over and over again. So knowing different ways to do things is such a huge opportunity. And therefore, through this portal, you will be able to see that this is what other people are doing. These are different things which are happening. And, the government is also pushing people into, it's also putting in a lot of effort in the digital space. As we've seen, the digital presence is quite huge. But there are also small trainings that are happening, even through TVETs, even through parastatals. Do these SMEs know? Because when you hear that, the first thing is you have to pay. But you don't necessarily have to pay. I wanted to say, we want to work with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, okay? And the reason is because they're in every county. So during those functions that they have, or those visits that they have in those counties, can we go and bring this SMEs,
Together.
they are together. Within the portal, SMEs have got a place for groups where they can be able to go put their discussions. So whatever concerns you have, you go there, you say, I'm an SME looking for XYZ. Who knows somebody who can do XYZ? Within there are people who are also coming into that portal, and you can be able to share concerns and say, actually, this is a legitimate concern. This is a legitimate concern. This is a legitimate concern. And the partners who are affected by that concern can be able to come and give them solutions.
Plug in.
So it's just expanding beyond your local code or your local arena of people.
It's expanding your reach.
Expanding your reach, your knowledge, your access to knowledge, your access to information, your access to market, your access to partners who are coming into finance. Sometimes you'll even find an angel investor who believes in your cause.
Who wanted to come in. But Marine, let me ask you,
Yes.
you've worked with SMEs for many years.
Yes.
From banks, from coming out and being an advisor to SMEs.
Yes.
Why does this information gap exist? I mean, all those service providers that you're talking about who are targeting SMEs, they have the capacity to actually even go out and reach the SMEs. Banks with SME accounts and SME products have the capacity and the branch network and everything else to be able to reach as many SMEs as possible. And Kenya National Chamber of Commerce as well is an avenue that could be used by all these institutions, banks, microfinance institutions, SACCOs and all. Why does the gap still exist?
I won't talk for those institutions because I don't work for those institutions. But what I can tell you is that when you talk of capacity, I can tell you for sure that the capacity is not there. And that the capacity in terms of, you're looking at human capital. Remember, that's why we are saying, let's go digital. Digital is the solution. Because when you're talking about human capital, can you imagine having to drive to Muhoroni to the sugarcane farmers there? What it takes. Then you look at the cost-benefit analysis, because these people are all in business. Isn't it so? You look at the cost-benefit analysis. Sometimes, does it make sense? You want to spend 5,000 shillings to come with loans worth 200,000. Does it make sense? But within the digital space, these services are able to be offered. You're seeing that even there's a lot of automation even in banks. Nowadays, you go and you want to put in money in your account, you don't even need to go to the teller. Therefore, there are fewer tellers. That is the benefit of automation. Now, you can even see the institutions that are doing agency, which goes into that person who has got an M-Pesa. You'll find there's an equity agent, there's a co-op agent, there are all those agents. So it is there. But the thing is, sometimes I feel like technology needs to move from being kind of like elitist. I don't know whether that's the right word to use, because even for me, I would say I'm not such a techie person. Today, if there's something wrong with my TV or my home theater, it could just be plugging a wire. Maybe the wire came off when I was cleaning.
But you're going to call
But let me tell you, I'm going to call that fundi who's going to be very happy to come and charge me 3,000 shillings to reconnect that wire. Okay, so the digital space should be a very, very big focus to bridge that gap. Because once you log in, it is as simple as long as you have a phone that can do www.smelink.app. You're inside the link. You're able to access these primary services, regardless of wherever you are. You're able to put in what your needs are. You're able to put in what you're looking for. Us on the back end, we're able to say, can you imagine there are 1,000 SMEs that want XYZ? Who can we partner with to be able to give them this? On a digital space, has that person had to leave wherever they are to go somewhere for that information? No. So digital is the way to go. I mean, if I can tell you for sure that I know even when I want to read any news, I just go in the digital space. I don't have to go and physically buy a newspaper. And I'm sure you have experienced that, that more people are preferring to go the digital way. So digital is the solution. And that is going to bridge the gap, because the cost of doing business, the Neanderthal way, is so high. The cost of doing business is so high. Therefore, people are moving digital to bridge that gap.
In the next hour, we're going to have a conversation with somebody from KRA.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about, just expanding knowledge and information, especially to the SMEs.
Yes.
Okay. Now, they're also doing a lot of work on the digital platform.
Yes.
They're doing a lot of training on their digital platforms. They're sending out emails or saying, we keep receiving emails of these workshops taking place.
Yes.
Now, you say SME Link is going to also be a partner with such institutions such as KRA, where people can come in and get information.
Yes.
Now, there are very many other organizations that say the same.
Yes.
Very many M something.
Yes.
M Farm, M Soko, M Nyumba, M Duka, M everything.
Yes.
And all of them are saying that they are offering solutions to the SMEs. Now, as an SME, what is it that I should be looking out for? Which one works for me? How do I evaluate what works for me and what doesn't work for me?
First and foremost, can you imagine if today you want to buy milk, you have to go to your dairy person. You have to go to that person who sells milk, the vendor.
The one who
then
has cows.
You want onions, you have to go to the farmer for onions.
Onion guy.
Okay. You want to make your simple stew. You want meat, you have to go to the farmer who slaughtered a goat. You get? So, I'm just saying for us, it's a one-stop shop. It's a repository.
You're a supermarket.
We are a supermarket.
Okay.
We are a supermarket. And the thing is, we are not trading. We are not telling you, come into this platform and then you pay and then we get a commission from what that person is paying. We are saying we are linking you with opportunities. What are the opportunities you're looking for? Maybe your need is to get into training. I do a lot of trainings online. I do a lot of trainings online. You even see institutions. Let me even talk about something like Udemy. Udemy, you find every time they have a discount. It's $100 they're giving you at $2 or $20. You buy into it, you learn what you have to learn. Did you have to leave your desk? Did you have to go to a training center? You didn't need to. You just need to choose the time that was ideal for you. So all these institutions, even KRA, we are happy to partner with them to come and partner with us and train the SMEs who we will have within our portfolio. And remember, we are not only talking Kenya. The needs are so diverse. We are doing global. So even globally, you'll find that maybe there's a new market that people did not know. When people think of even exporting things, they're always thinking of the European side. Who told you that the Asian side, there are things that are not needed?
Or here on the continent.
Or even here in the continent, we have institutions that are buying a lot of products from farmers and closing that trade cycle.
Yep.
I was talking to somebody and they were saying, my biggest struggle is my farmer in Kisii has harvested a lot of bananas. Then they have to come to, say, for example, Marikiti. If you've ever been to Marikiti, because I'm also a farmer, if you've ever been to Marikiti, do you know you cannot sell anything direct? You have to go through the broker. I do not have a problem with them. But the problem is, if you compare the farm gate prices, which is the price the farmer is being paid, vis-a-vis the price which I have to go buy the product in Marikiti, they are worlds apart. Who has put in most of the work?
You, the farmer.
Me, the farmer. Why am I the one getting the least value in the chain? So those are part of the gaps that you're finding are frustrating even our youth into getting into things like farming. Isn't it so? Frustrating people, because through the digital space, it is very easy for you to enter a market. Through the digital space, it's very easy for you to access different markets without having to go through an individual who is eating on your side and eating on the other side. So there are ways in which to streamline these things.
Okay.
Instead, it is illegal to avoid tax, but it is legal to avoid tax, but it is illegal to evade tax. Isn't it so? So as a business, you don't want to pay so much tax. What are the things within policy that can save you from paying so much tax? You can avoid by doing the right thing, but evading becomes illegal. Now, do SMEs know that?
They need a lot of information.
So there's a lot of information. So for us, we are saying, other than allowing you as an SME to network and do business together, we are going to work with very many different partners, be it government, be it the NGO space, be it the development partners like the EU, World Bank, IFC, all those. We are going to work with them, be it KRA, be it tax consultants. One of the things that we used to do when I was working in the bank is something called succession planning. Succession is so critical. You look at the Asian community, that child goes to work from the time they're 10 years old. They start understanding how business goes. If the mzee passes on, God forbid,
the
business goes on. Another thing is, you look at things like, we also have a part for board members. SMEs are being pushed to the direction of stopping to become a family business and to kind of like get the technical expertise. It will help you grow. When I come to your business and I see so-and-so sits in the board, I'll see that you're actually thinking beyond yourself. It's not a one-man show. You're getting other technical expertise and information. So even within our portal, we shall have people like you who are saying you're passionate about SMEs who are in the entertainment industry. You go there and you say you're looking for an SME that is of this size, that is in this scope. This SME will find you and you will find them. Did you have to go through a consultant?
No, you
You
don't.
found each other.
Yeah.
You found each other in a portal.
So again, just to remind people, how do you access the portal?
So you access the portal by typing www.smelink.app. Go in there. You only need your mobile number and an email. So you go in there, you put your names, your mobile, and your email. Then you're going to move to the next part, which is going to give you a portal for ad business. On the ad business, you can add anything in your business. And as you're adding your business, you're going to be asked about what industry you are in, how many employees you have, and turnovers. And why are turnovers important? We have financials, for example, who are saying we want people with turnovers of about 1 million shillings a year.
So it's basically just to rank you.
So it just helps you to rank, and it also helps us through our system engine optimization to know that these are the products that you can offer these SMEs through interrogating the data on the back end. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marine, for joining us.
Yes.
Marine Kabaru is the COO of SME Link International. We'll be talking about SMEs leveraging on tech and innovation to grow as businesses. And, well, there's this one portal that she's talking about, SMElink.app, www.smelink.app. Go in there, log in, and then you join other community of SMEs and get all the information. Asante sana for joining us.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Ndu.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, City.
Come
Get
again
well
soon.
Thank you. I look forward to another invite. I hope it has been beneficial to the people out there.
It has indeed.
And I'm happy to come and, continue having this SME discussion.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Amani National Congress Party leader Musa has opposed the new proposals that seeks to make it mandatory for the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission to develop its voter register from the Huduma number registration system. Mudavade, in a statement, said the passing of the bill will erode public trust in the integrity of the IEBC ahead of the 2022 general elections preparedness. He blamed the poorly revised measures into putting up enough Huduma number registration centers that he says inconvenienced individuals in the diaspora who experience challenges in obtaining national identity cards. The number of Kenyans traveling up country for this festive season continues to increase, as witnessed in various bus stops across the country. These as passengers continue to raise their concern of increased fare, with matatu operators increasing the same with over 500 shillings. From Nairobi to Kisumu, Busia and other towns in the Western Strip, it will cost one between 2,000 and 2,500 shillings against a normal price of 1,500 shillings and 1,800 shillings. The demand for transport has seen Kenya Railways add an additional train from Nairobi to Kisumu. And Safaricom has partnered with the National Transport and Safety Authority and the National Border Association towards road safety initiative targeting border riders. The initiative, which kicks off at the head of the festive season that is marked by increased travel, will entail a concerted educational campaign aimed at influencing behavior change on the part of border riders and paying passengers, as well as promoting responsible and proper usage of the road by all road users. As part of the campaign, Safaricom, in conjunction with the NTSA and the Border Association, will drive awareness on key safety areas, including the need to always obey traffic lights, avoid speeding or overtaking on the wrong side of the road, availability of helmets for border riders and their passengers, as well as having insurance cover. Now, Kajiado's Central Member of Parliament, Elijah Memusi, has urged parents to take time to understand their children and their issues over the holidays to avert rising cases of indiscipline being witnessed in schools. Memusi notes that the current trend is quite discouraging and parents ought to take advantage of the holiday season to patch up glaring gaps in molding the character of their children. Speaking after issuing bursaries to school heads within the constituency, Kanchuri urged parents to spend quality time with their children and stop delegating their responsibility to teachers on matters bursary. Memusi lauded school heads for retaining their students in schools despite their fee arrears. Now, the prolonged drought which hit some parts of the country will drive high assistance needs through 2022. Farming Early Warning Systems Network, an initiative of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is concerned that food insecurity in 2022 will worsen and spread, estimating that 3 to 4 million people would require humanitarian food aid in Kenya. The network attributes the situation to the elevated likelihood of a fourth consecutive below-average season during the March to May 2022 rains. It noted the October to December 2021 short rains had largely failed, marking the third consecutive below-average season across pastoral and marginal agricultural areas of eastern and northern Kenya. Police in Kirinyaga County are looking for a 26-year-old man who attempted to commit suicide in Gino Village, Gishugu constituency. According to Gishugu Sub-County Police Commander Anthony Mbogo, Kelvin Dambiri started by dousing his house on petrol and setting it ablaze. Njuku East Sub-Location Assistant Chief Lucas Gikoya said Dambiri had been living in Nairobi prior to the incident. Mbogo similarly linked Dambiri to cases of domestic violence and drug abuse. And a 25-year-old man bled to death after slitting his own throat at his house in Keniu in Mkuyuni, Makueni County. Reports indicate that the man killed himself after his parents failed to raise money to treat his fractured hand and leg following a road accident. The deceased's mother said they could not raise enough money on time, and efforts to be helped by leaders were unsuccessful. To sports, and National Super League clubs have rallied the FKF Caretaker Committee to use the Christmas break to work on the immediate concerns that threaten to jeopardize the integrity of the league. The issues raised include some teams failing to produce requisite player cards, a gap opening up a possibility of ineligible players participating in matches. Also pointed out in the committee's failure to disburse the funds as agreed in an earlier stakeholders meeting and payment of referees. We finalize by urging you to go out there, get vaccinated, protect yourself and those that you love, even as you proceed for the festive season. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
.5 Spice FM.
Slippery roads in some areas, and we're seeing that traffic is still on Landis Road heading out towards Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie is where we see the most traffic this morning within the CBD. The Thika Superhighway is looking pretty good, and we have some buildup of traffic on Likoni Road going towards the Exchange and then connecting with the Southern Bypass. That's built up in the last few minutes. The most of the traffic that we'll see this morning is right within the CBD, coming in from Kamkunji and Muranga Road, and a little bit coming out of Westlands, but nothing too major there. The Thika Superhighway looks free and clear in and outbound with not much of an issue in minutes this morning. Juja Road also a little bit of traffic here and there. Mathare North a little bit as well. Apart from that, it's a good day on the traffic streets. A few minutes after 8 o'clock, and that's what it looks like. Let's see in a bit. Spice FM KE on Twitter, text 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
It is 8 minutes after 8. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. It's The Situation Room. Thank you very much for keeping it locked right here on Spice FM, wherever you are. So I know you'll be traveling around the country. So from wherever you are, let me tell you our frequencies. If you go to Malindi, Watamu, Kilifi, anywhere from Kilifi town into Malindi, 97.7 is our frequency. Nyeri, Muranga, Meru, Embu, Nanyuki, 90.9 is our frequency. In Eldoret, 96.7. Nakuru and its environs, 96.0. 102.5 in Kisumu. Mombasa is 87.9. And Nairobi, 94.4. However, you can also catch the show online because we live streaming the show every morning on SpiceFM KE, on Facebook and YouTube, and also on our website, www.spicefm.co.ke. CT Muga starts the hour with the day's proverb.
Yes. Kanga hazai ugenini.
Kanga hazai ugenini.
Yes.
Why would they say kuzaa for a kanga anyway, and they have the word for it, for laying an egg?
Well, some words are more descriptive than others.
Okay.
And technical terms are not always descriptive.
How much meaning would you lose if they said kanga hatagi uzanini, ugenini?
Because the moment you use kutaga, because that is what chicks, that's what fowls do, wanataga mayai, not everybody will understand kutaga ni nini. But kuzaa, they understand.
Someone speaks Kiswahili and they don't understand kutaga?
Yes.
But they understand kanga.
Kutaga is technical. Other kanga they may not even know, because how many people know guinea fowls are called kanga?
How many people know guinea fowls exist?
So, see, this is the beauty.
Do guinea fowls have a hump?
Oh, wow. Do you see now? Problem. Just shh.
I'm taking the question seriously.
Have you seen a guinea fowl?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen the back of a guinea fowl?
Yes, I have.
Describe the back of a guinea fowl.
It's slightly higher.
All right. So does it have a hump?
It's a contour. You know, there are people who've never seen a guinea fowl in their lives. Huh?
People don't know what it is.
So you have to explain it. Nonetheless, is that not one of the beautiful things about Proverbs?
Yes, it is.
It is stated and it raises questions. And in the process of trying to explain it...
It's a knowledge bringer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes.
You're right. A guinea fowl does not lay its eggs in a strange place.
In a strange place. If you were to speak Kenyanese, anyhowly.
Fwa.
Laying as you go. Fwa. 1 year.
And then
it's all over. The same way we were talking about SMEs earlier, and now let's talk about all taxpayers. And you know, you don't just do your affairs for. Okay, there's a way. There are laws in place, there are regulations in place, and you follow those, then you actually even benefit from following the law. I was telling you earlier that I received an email from Kenya Revenue Authority last night. Can I read you that email again? From the Kenya Revenue Authority. Coming on the 21st day of December, a day after the 20th.
Dear Eric.
No, dear esteemed customer.
Bas.
The headline of the email, tax issues, ? To the sort out of court.
Apo.
So then they say that your tax disputes can now be resolved through mediation for free through alternative dispute resolution, saving you from lengthy legal processes and costs. ADR is a transparent process that has both parties' interests at heart and is conducted online by trained tax experts. Download the ADR application form from www.kra.go.ke and submit the complete form along with supporting documents to adr@adr.go.ke or deliver to the 7th floor of Block B, Ushuru Pension Towers, Upper Hill. That's my tax office. Tax issues? To the sort out of court.
That's very effective communication, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So this thing of hiding from Kere utawacha.
Stop it.
Tuongee.
Yes.
Don't be afraid.
Tuongee. And I think si lazima ukuje.
No.
Just get in here, download the app, send an email, send supporting documents. A qualified tax expert will walk you through it and will resolve these issues.
You'll be all right.
We'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a tax expert from the Kenya Revenue Authority followed up after the email came and joined me in the studio to tell me the same thing, one-on-one.
Just in case you didn't get the email.
That's how effective KRA is.
Just in case the email had not arrived.
Yes.
Tax expert is here.
Yes.
Penina Munga is from Kenya Revenue Authority. Good morning, Penina.
Good morning.
It's good to have you in the show.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I don't have any tax issues or disputes, but I know people who have, and it's actually interesting. You'll tell us about all this. We are here to talk about all this tax information. There are very many people who, like we were saying earlier, people are willing to comply with the tax regulations and laws, but for lack of information, one. Number two, there's the fear of, what happens if I start dealing with this? What's going to happen to me? And all that is what KRA has been working on in the last couple of years, on trying basically to just remove all the layers that have been there previously and making KRA as accessible as possible. And we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So, tax expert, let's talk about PIN registration.
Okay.
And there are many, many people. We're talking about, as you met with Mary when she was leaving, we're talking about SMEs. And she was telling us there are very many people who are running businesses. And one of the hurdles that they have is access to credit, access to finance. One of the issues that they are required to have is at least be registered. Come to me as some legal entity or the other. They don't even have a PIN certificate or PIN number. What's the importance of a PIN?
Okay. There are several uses of a PIN. Let me call them uses of a PIN. Number one, if you're running a business and you have a tax liability, or you expect to have a tax liability, then you'd be required to register with the commissioner or KRA, and you'll be issued with a PIN once you register. Number two, there are some transactions you cannot actually transact in this country if you don't have a PIN number. For example, you cannot open a bank account, you cannot sell land, you cannot buy land, motor vehicle registration, among others. They are all listed in the first schedule of the Tax Procedures Act. They are quite a number. So a PIN is quite important. So once you register with KRA, then you'll be issued with a PIN, or a personal identification number.
What really is it? What is a PIN?
A PIN is just a unique identifier that is used by the government to identify you as a taxpayer.
Okay.
Yes.
And nobody else has that number except you.
Yes.
So it means every transaction that you make is then known to the government.
Yes. Using that unique identifier.
And it's every citizen, whether individual or corporate.
Yes,
so
it's every
if I am
citizen.
Eric, I have my own PIN, and all the businesses that I open, and they have the tax liability, they'll also have their own unique identifier.
Okay, it depends. You can decide to operate your businesses as a sole proprietor. Now, if you're a sole proprietor, then your PIN as Eric will also be used for all your businesses and for all your tax purposes. But if you decide to incorporate these companies or even form partnerships with other people like Muga here, then you'll be required to have separate PIN numbers for those companies.
Yeah, our business has a PIN, a separate PIN.
Okay.
That separates us. Now, I know this is a question that you've been asked many, many times.
Yes.
So I have an ID. This I've been told by the government. Nobody else has this number of ID. It's a unique identifier for
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Why do I need another unique identifier for KRA that is in the same government?
But okay, for PIN, use it mostly for tax purposes. Okay, you'll discover that an ID is mandatory for every other citizen. A PIN number, if you don't have transactions listed in the first schedule and you don't have any other any tax liability to pay, then you won't require to have a PIN number.
Unless, of course, you want to have a bank account.
Yes, okay, that's what I've said.
See, now that's the thing.
There are those other transactions that you cannot transact without a PIN number.
So by and by,
yes,
everybody will at some point have to have a PIN. You'll open a bank account, you'll be required to have a PIN.
Yes.
You'll seek employment somewhere, you'll be deducted payee, you'll have to have a PIN. You'll start a business, you want to regularize your business so that you can run a business properly, you'll have an account, PIN.
Yeah, you must have a
For you to open a business, register a business, you'll have to have a PIN.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
Yes.
Yes, as per the law,
it's not legally
mandatory.
mandated for you to have it.
It's not mandatory.
Okay, it's not mandatory.
But an ID is mandatory because you have to be identified as a Kenyan citizen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you find many people who have, at one point or the other, they registered their PIN, then that means that they have an obligation?
Yes.
So you went and registered a PIN because you were employed many years ago.
Yes.
And you were remitting pay as you earn.
Yes.
And then you were required to be filing your tax returns.
Yes.
And then you left that employment and you haven't been employed again.
Yes.
You're running now a business as a sole proprietor and you have basically not been doing any of these filings. So because you have a PIN,
yes,
there are several obligations that you have, that you must have. So just give us individually as Eric, what basic obligations do I have?
Number one, income tax
Okay.
resident for an individual. Yes, as a sole proprietor, as a person, even as an employee of a company, you have to file your individual income tax returns at the end of the year. If you're running a business as Eric, not incorporated, then you have to file your income tax returns for individual.
Okay.
Now, let's say you're running a business and it's a small business and you feel that you don't want to keep all those complex records and you have to pay your income tax, then you have to register for turnover tax.
Okay.
If your business turnover is over 5 million per year, then in addition to these other income tax obligations, you'll be required to have a VAT obligation. Now, if you have employees who are earning amounts that are over 24,000 in a month, then you'd be required to have a pay obligation. If you're doing or you're running a business that you're selling excisable goods, then you'll be required to have an excise obligation. If you're dealing with excisable services like internet, you'd be required to have an excise obligation.
Okay.
Yes.
I think there are things within the business of paying taxes or realizing the obligatory process of these taxes that just happen to be kind of the run-of-the-mill terms that are used, and that if we look at it very clearly, a lot of people who run businesses or even do their individual have no idea what they are. So now when you talk about excisable, can you explain so that we can understand exactly what it is and how then it affects you as an individual or as a business?
Okay. When you talk about excisable, excisable can be either excisable goods or excisable services. There are two categories. You can either be a manufacturer of excisable goods or an importer of excisable goods. Now, as a manufacturer, there are goods that are categorized under the Excise Act as excisable goods. So if if you're dealing with those goods, then these goods are excisable and you must comply with the Excise Act. They include bottled water, alcohol, cigarettes, among others. Yes.
Okay.
Cosmetics. Excisable services will be looking at things like financial services, internet data, etc.
If you were to talk to a young Kenyan who just recently acquired an ID because legally they became an adult.
Yes.
And you wanted them to understand the benefits of adhering to tax obligations. Okay? What are the things that you would tell this individual? Because they've never paid taxes in their lives, but they are going to start paying taxes at some point. So even before they get into this train, what would you want to tell them so that they can understand that this taxation that you hear of is actually a really good thing for you? Yes.
Okay, number one, any government cannot operate without taxes. Taxes are just the life, the blood life of any government. You cannot operate without taxes. Then how will we expect the government to give us drugs, education, the free education, infrastructure, etc., security, among others. So it's actually our duty as Kenyan citizens to pay taxes.
So essentially, you'll be telling them that, you may not understand it, but the fact that you've gotten to where you are and you've gone to school, in the absence of taxes, some of these things that you've enjoyed all along
you cannot get
would not have been possible.
Exactly.
And in so doing, you'll probably be telling them that everybody contributes.
Yes.
So now that you're of age,
it's now your turn.
It's your turn to join.
Part of adulting.
Yes,
it's contributing.
Yes, it's part of our duty. It's part and parcel of our duty, and it's only fair if all of us pay our fair share of taxes.
There are many who, even they're adults, they're many years over 18, but they look back and they understand. They know people are paying taxes and everything, but they take pride in finding ways of not paying taxes. I'm sure you've interacted with very many people of this kind of this nature. What do you hear? What's the reason why people will try and cut corners so they don't pay tax? Is it because they're not patriotic? Is it because they don't understand what the importance of paying taxes? Or is it because they don't see the direct benefit of paying tax?
Okay, I think the three would apply. Some don't see the benefits, or they don't appreciate the benefits of paying taxes. And that's why we are here today, to just remind people that the government cannot run, actually. The security officers we see, the security we expect, especially in this season, we cannot have it without these taxes being paid. Number two, some people just, I think we call it tax morale. They just don't have it. We just want to evade, It's also, some people, it's just their nature. I don't want to pay. And also, in a way, if the government is not punitive enough to the offenders, again, people will be, Muga does not pay. Why can't I join him, But I'm not saying he doesn't pay. I'm not saying he doesn't pay, but you can say that. And others, it's out of ignorance.
I've been hanged out to dry. Now people are listening this morning.
Not really. I'll just give you an
Muga halipi tax.
Unajua nalipango 2 million.
Na halipi tax.
Anyways, on a lighter note. So you know somebody who does not pay tax, and then you see nothing has happened to them. So that also just encourages you to join that bandwagon.
And that's why it should be punitive enough if someone is caught as an offender. Either you're avoiding or you're evading tax, then it should be punitive.
Okay.
So that it can discourage the others.
So then when I hear you say that, and I hear previous messages that have come from Carrie saying that, right, what we want to do is have a conversation with you and say that if you've not been able to do this, then let's sit down and see how we can come around with an installment payment kind of thing. So which is it? Are we saying if you're deliberately avoiding this, and then I guess proving that would be a bit of an uphill task, but then up until point X, this person has not paid, or this entity has not paid, and we're saying, come in and let's have a conversation? Or are we saying, come in and let me slap the bracelets on you and then teach you a lesson for tomorrow?
Not really. And that's why Kerry has started the Voluntary Tax Disclosure Program, VTDP. Yeah, we are telling you, if you've not disclosed your taxes, come disclose them. In the first year, which started this year from January to December, you'll have 100% waiver of penalties and interest. If you come the following year, 2022, disclose your taxes, you'll have a 50% waiver. If you come in the third year, then you'll have a 25% waiver of penalties and interest. So we are calling you, come, disclose what you've not paid. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to ask. Now, does that fall into the category of a dispute then?
That's not a dispute, really. It's not yet a dispute. A tax dispute is when we issue you with an assessment or a tax decision, and then you feel it's incorrect, either based on the figures or the law, then you can feel this is not correct. So you'd like to dispute that, You'd like to dispute that. So the first step of a tax dispute is objection. So you're going to object or to launch what we call an objection, which you can launch on iTax. That's the first step of a tax dispute. This will be reviewed by an independent body that falls still within KRA, and they'll issue you with what we call an objection decision. If you still feel that this was not reviewed in a fair way, you still have an avenue. You can appeal at the Tax Appeals Tribunal. The tribunal is totally independent. They'll review your affairs. If you still feel that the judgment or the ruling by the Tax Appeals Tribunal is not sufficient, you can still appeal at the High Court.
When you say the tribunal is independent, what do you mean?
It's actually an independent body.
It's not
separate from KRA.
It doesn't comprise of people who work in KRA.
No. It's independent.
So how do you choose? How are the members of this particular tribunal chosen?
By the Treasury.
So the Tax Dispute Tribunal is basically formed by the Treasury CS.
Yes.
And gazetted.
Yes.
And what does the Treasury CS consider in picking the members of the tribunal?
I think the qualifications. Yes.
Qualifications?
Yes.
Okay, now, given the diversity of businesses and individuals and issues that people have, I am going to assume that this board also, the members of this particular board will also come from a diversity of backgrounds.
Yes.
All right? So, okay, we've established that they'll have a diversity of background, but what else do they look for when they want to choose the board members? Apart from just maybe, let's say, for instance, you'll want an accountant. I'm giving you an example. Or you want somebody with a legal background. Okay. Beyond that, what other considerations are there? I'm going to explain to you why I'm asking this question. I have worked in research for a long time.
Yes.
And one of the things that they have within these research bodies is an independent board that comprises of, among other people, yes, experts in research, but just ordinary wananchi. You'll find a pastor, you'll find a village elder, somebody with a legal... it's actually quite an interesting mix. So it is from that background that I'm asking, that does this tribunal represent the diversity and mix of people who are likely to come to the tribunal with their issues? That's really what I'm asking.
Okay, not really, but professionalism. In terms of these will be judges, people with background in law, people with background in accounting, and also people who are ethical, in line with the Constitution.
Okay.
Yeah, so we expect objectivity.
Okay. So
and people who are in good standing.
Okay, so someone like Muga who doesn't pay taxes can't go into that board?
No, it depends. Do you have the necessary knowledge and expertise in tax matters and tax laws?
I get it. Yes.
Let's take a break then. It's 8:30. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. We're talking about tax and just basically tax education this morning. Joining us is tax expert from the Kenya Revenue Authority, Penina Munga. We're going to open the phone lines shortly. If you've got any big question, then you can ask the Kenya Revenue Authority on issues of tax and understanding of tax. You know, there are many people who just think they have a question, but they haven't had an opportunity to ask. This could be it. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person. Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
The group of leaders we are having now, Kenyans, listen, the chemical composition is the same. You will mold them to ODM, then NASA, you mold them to Kano, mold them to Jubilee, mold them to any other different color sometimes, but the chemical composition is the same.
It's not about me as Nurdin Haji, but it's about the constitution that I swore to protect. So when individuals attempt to hoard those powers and they want to be investigators and also prosecutors, then of course I have to defend that position because that position is in the constitution and that's what Kenyans wanted.
I'll tell you what happens is that when you ignore court orders, you're creating and quoting anarchy. Then you create a very dangerous precedent.
A story is told of the first president of the country who also went to visit Madare, presidential tour. Yeah? And of course, he went to this place and he introduced himself. So one of the enemies says, kuna jina kama yangu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The weather with Spice FM.
Cloudy conditions warming up slightly at 18. Nairobi will go to highs of 24 and lows of 15. 15 will also be the low in Nakuru, where it's partly sunny at 18, highs of 24. We're looking at highs of 22 in Nyeri, where it's currently cloudy at 17, and we'll see lows of 16. It's partly sunny in Eldoret at 17, highs of 24 and lows of 14. And we're looking at mostly sunny conditions in Mombasa at 26, highs of 29 and lows of 24. Malindi is raining at 27, highs of 29 and lows of 25. And we're looking at a sunny Kisumu at 23, highs of 31 and lows of 20. Kakamega is sunny at 22, highs of 30 and lows of 17. Looking at a rainy Kampala at 22, highs of 26 and lows of 19. Dar es Salaam also raining at 28, highs of 31 and lows of 26. Johannesburg is sunny at 16, highs of 23 and lows of 14. And we're looking at clear conditions in Lagos at 23, highs of 34 and lows of 23. Sunny Kinshasa is at 24. It'll come to highs of 32 and lows of 23.
Spice up your
life. The city here and there. Langata Road, just at the junction of the Timor, is where we see some traffic. But the worrying thing is now what's coming off of the Likoni interchange, then spilling over to the southern bypass and Uhuru Highway this morning. Not sure what has caused that, but it's slowing things down just a little bit. In the CBD, there is quite some traffic. Uhuru Highway not giving up too much. The Thika Superhighway looks pretty good. But then Landis Road specifically today, then out towards Haile Selassie. It's packed tight. Keep an eye on things, smattering of traffic around the city, but nothing too terrible just yet, except for where we've looked at just now. Shall we talk through the day, through the morning? SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127.
It's Christmas season, jingle bells, jingle bells. Santa's on the way with Showmax for everybody. 14 days free trial if you actually sign in today to showmax.com. Go and set up a 14-day free trial, and then after that you can choose whichever package you want to go for. Which one do you want to go for? Showmax or Showmax Pro? Showmax Mobile or Showmax Pro or Showmax Pro Mobile? Whichever one you go for, you have unlimited good entertainment and good sporting activities as well. www.showmax.com. It's Christmas season. Gift yourself the best way.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. Spice FM. Malindi. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings.
It's 24 minutes to 9.
94.
Conversation. We continue talking about tax, and tax education is what we are having this morning. Penina Monga, tax expert from the Kenya Revenue Authority, joins us. Just as we took the break, I actually went around and looked at information on the Tax Appeals Tribunal. The tribunal comprises a chairperson and not less than 5, not less than 15, but not more than 20. So between 15 and 20 are the members appointed by the Cabinet Secretary upon such terms and conditions of service as the Cabinet Secretary may determine. Public servants, KRA employees like Penina, tax agents like, are ineligible to hold office in order to maintain impartiality. Okay, so those ones who are dealing directly with you on tax are not supposed to hold this office. Disputes are handled by panels that have at least 3 members, at least one of whom shall be an advocate of the High Court. And it hears appeals filed against any tax decision made by the Commissioner, and this is the KRA Commissioner General. These are heard and determined within 90 days from when the appeal is filed with the tribunal. They also have a time limit. Within 90 days of filing an appeal, it shall be heard and determined by a panel that comprises at least 3 members. One of them is an advocate of the High Court. Yeah? So there are ways of dealing with the disputes. A question that then comes in online from Abby. Abby says, KRA has set up the alternative tax resolution. Is it working, Penina?
Yes, it's working.
So now that we're talking about the dispute resolution and all, and you said not everything is a dispute. So define the dispute and then define the one that I received an email for. These alternative issues, carry issues, let's sort them out of court.
Okay. I had defined a dispute, but I can repeat. It starts with an objection. You actually object based on either facts or law. Then after the objection decision is issued, you appeal at the Tax Appeals Tribunal. If you're still dissatisfied, then you appeal at the High Court.
Okay.
Now, at what point do you opt for alternative dispute resolution? At the Tax Appeals Tribunal level, you as the parties, both the commissioner and the taxpayer, can opt to resolve the matters out of court. There's ADR, a totally different department that mediates these discussions. Now, you'll seek leave from the Tax Appeals Tribunal to resolve this matter out of court. Yes. But you can still opt to resolve this matter out of court at the High Court level. Then the parties are given 90 days to go engage using alternative dispute resolution and then file the settlement.
Okay. The standard, when you talk of alternate, then the implication is that there is a standard way of resolving disputes, and I assume the standard way is going to court.
Is that one of the disputes?
Kenya has a graduated mechanism, dispute resolution mechanism.
Yes.
And that's why we started with an independent review body. People who are totally separate from the officers who maybe assessed you.
Yes.
All conducted that investigation.
But they are still within carry.
But it's a separate unit. You see, for most of the tax assessments, they are issued under Domestic Taxes Department, all customs. Now, this body is domiciled under legal.
Okay.
And our legal unit. And it's totally different
So
officers.
it's a department that just deals with this particular...
With objections.
Objections.
Yes.
That's all it does.
That's all it does.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're legal experts, non-tax experts.
They are tax experts.
So they review and then they give a decision.
They review, they'll call for records and submissions from the taxpayer and also from commissioner, and then they'll issue their objection decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're dissatisfied, that's when now you go to the Tax Appeals Tribunal.
Yes.
If you're dissatisfied, you go to, or if either party is dissatisfied, it could actually even be carry that is dissatisfied with the decision of the Appeals Tribunal,
then
go to the High Court.
Yes.
And at any of these stages, these two stages, you can opt for ADR.
Yes.
And within 90 days, then you come and report that we have agreed.
Yeah.
If you don't agree, what happens?
If you don't agree, then the matter is referred back to either the Tax Appeals Tribunal or the High Court. Because both parties can feel that this is not a matter that we can resolve.
Okay.
Okay. Masharia asks this morning to please shed some light on the new tax invoice management system and more about the new ETR machines, as a lot of businesses seem to be in the dark, and this could hamper them then from being compliant. So those are two issues there.
Okay, I think it's just one issue because basically Teams All Tax Invoice Management is the new system. It's actually still an electronic device. We're moving away from the ETR. The effective date was 1st August of this year, and there's a 12-month transition period within which a taxpayer is supposed to comply. Yes.
So what happens? Describe the difference now between Teams and what we've been having, the ETR machine.
The difference is for ETR, carry does not have a real-time view of the transactions. When you come to Teams, it will be transmitting data. Once you invoice, it will be transmitting that data real-time to carry servers.
So is it a device or is it a portal?
It's a device. There's a device you're actually installing.
That is connected to the internet?
Yes.
And it has constantly to be connected to the internet for it to work?
Yes.
And who's paying for that internet? The taxpayer.
The taxpayer is paying for the internet.
And if I'm not able to connect to this particular device that needs to be on the internet, then I would not be able to do what you require of me as a business owner, and then I'm not compliant.
There's the 12-month transition period where you can look into your affairs and see on how you can actually make arrangements on how to buy. If still within the 12 months you're still not able to, you can write to the commissioner. And that's why we're saying this morning that you can actually come to KRA and explain and get a workaround.
I guess the challenge, even from what Patrick is asking, is this transition period, and basically everybody just getting to understand. So previously, just take us through the pros and cons of the previous system, or what's still current, the ETR machine. What was it? How was it doing? And then now you can then tell us, this is now what's going to be different when you fully transition to Teams.
Okay, remember the VAs they've been complaining about, whereby I'll buy from him or I'll buy from her. Then I'll claim the input on my side. Then she does not declare
the output.
The output. And then at the end of the day, when KRA runs VA, the inconsistencies, then my input will be disallowed because of that previous system.
So
number two, it was really abused because people could just get the machine, the ETR machine, issue fake ETR invoices, and that's why we started with VA cross-matching output and input. So in a way, it will help everybody because I'll know as long as I've bought from you and you have Teams and the machine, then I know you'll declare automatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now assume you are going to, let's say, a supermarket and you're purchasing things at the till. So the Teams is now going to be connected to this particular till so that at every point as I'm purchasing, as this is being registered, it's also registering to KRA?
Yes.
In real time?
In real time.
Okay. Then I'm coming now within the 30 days as a business that bought these goods or this service. I'm now coming to file. So how shall I now indicate this? I when I go to the iTax, it will no longer be a problem.
It's actually supposed to auto-populate. If you've given your PIN number to your supplier, it's supposed to auto-populate. Because your supplier will key in the PIN number. It's supposed to actually auto-populate. Yes.
And the PIN number is known to KRA.
Quisha.
Yes. So whatever requires capturing will be captured.
Okay. What challenges do you foresee in this, in the rollout of the new system?
Okay. Maybe internet connectivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in Kenya, internet connectivity remains an issue. Maybe that's the only issue I can see currently.
You know, I'm a dog with a bone on this particular one, huh?
And immediately you reconnect to the internet, then the signal will send to...
Oh, the data is sent.
Yeah, the signal will send.
Brave new world, isn't it?
Oh, why?
So I don't think it will really be an issue.
So it doesn't matter if you're not connected at the point, just key in the information, and then when connection is reestablished,
then the signal
it transmits.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Cynthia.
Yeah. Okay, so Cynthia also asks, purchasing the ETR machine was not easy on many pockets. I remember the time when everybody was then being asked as a business to purchase one and everybody was in, straits. Is KRA going to purchase them back in exchange for the TIMS? It's punitive to small businesses.
Oh, wow. Okay. Not very sure about that. But remember, for ETR, you are allowed to claim the initial purchase price as your input. Yeah. The people who complied within the period, then they were able to recoup that back. Yes.
No, repeat that again. So,
at the time of rolling out ETR,
yes,
you went and purchased.
Yes.
You were allowed within a certain window to claim that.
Whatever I had purchased,
yes,
whatever I had spent,
yes,
I was allowed to reclaim that money.
Yes. If you complied within
a certain window.
certain period.
Now, there are people who opened their businesses and they complied immediately by buying an ETR machine, that one, and water.
So you didn't bear that cost, at the end of the day.
All right. So
for teens, maybe what I can say, KRA is still sensitizing people, taxpayers, and they're going round and they're doing sensitizations. So they should be on the lookout.
How exactly are they doing the sensitization? When you say they're going around,
the same way. Media houses, maybe next week we'll have somebody from Teams, social media, Facebook, Stories za Ushuru, podcasts, stakeholder engagements. We normally have taxpayer education sessions. Yes.
I think a lot of information is like I'm sure you've dealt with very many people, and every time things that you thought are pretty obvious keep cropping up as questions.
Yes.
Because every new day you have new people who are registering businesses, there are people who are entering into business for the first time, people who are registering for PIN for the first time, and they have no clue what the obligations are. Okay? Now, as an organization, as an institution, KRA, is there a plan of seeing how you can avoid this by being proactive in at this points of information? Like City was asking earlier, people when they're still in school, that you understand once you get out, this is it. You will register, you become 18, you get employed, register for PIN, or you want to start a small business, register for PIN. Then you're running a small business and it's 5 million and below. Turnover tax is where you go. You're 5 million and above, VAT, accessible, all those things. I think, is there a plan to capture them at an earlier age?
Yes, actually they are captured.
Okay.
I'd say they're captured because KRA has even engagements with school. There are schools that have even tax clubs. Yeah, so KRA has been going around even in schools and educating students at a young age the importance of compliance and taxes. If you go to the Facebook page, Stories za Ushuru, you'll get quite a number of podcasts and webcasts, Twitter engagements. So this is done quite often. Yes.
And it's impressive.
And it's on all taxes, actually.
You're using the platforms where many of the new taxpayers are to be found, and these are digital platforms. Let's talk about turnover tax for a bit.
Okay.
There's still a lot of confusion about turnover tax. And at what point you pay turnover tax and who qualifies, who pays for turnover tax. So just start from scratch. Assume we don't know anything.
Okay. Let me first by defining what turnover tax is. Turnover tax is a type of income tax to start with, and it's payable by businesses on your gross sales or your turnover. And this is in line with Section 12C of the Income Tax Act. So that's what turnover tax is, and it's payable at 1% of your gross sales. Let me repeat that again, 1% of your gross sales. So, for example, if your gross sales in a month are 3 million, then you'll just calculate 1% and remit to KRA.
So, and we're talking about, is there a specific size of business?
Yes. Now, the businesses that are eligible for turnover tax should have a turnover of 1 million to 50 million shillings annually, or maybe 83,000 Kenya shillings to 4.2 million Kenya shillings per month.
Let me ask this question, because for the longest time, I have always understood that tax on businesses is related to the profits that you make.
Yes.
So now, if I have a huge turnover, but I'm actually not making any profit, don't you think such a tax would discourage me?
If you have a huge turnover, then you'd fall obviously out of the 50 million bracket. So you'll be required to file the normal
49 million
income tax return. Yeah.
Actually, we're thinking of 49 million 900.
Yes, that's a very huge turnover.
Okay, you can opt not to be on turnover tax by not registering. Yes, by not registering.
But what City is asking is the
still
principle
be
behind
required.
it. The principle here is that I'm operating a business.
Yes.
I am making sales.
Yes.
I'm getting these revenues coming in. But then I have such high costs that I'm actually not even making much in terms of margin here. Now you are taxing me on the gross sales, not factoring in the cost of doing this business and how much profit I've made. So is this not, if it's a form of income tax, this is not an income yet.
It is an income because you have an option. You have an option. Number one, you can opt for the normal income tax returns, okay? Where you'll declare your sales, deduct your expenses, and then you pay at 30%. No, this is quite lower because it's at 1%, and it's straightforward. It's on your gross sales. So depending on your calculations and your business margins, you can either opt for TOT or the normal income tax. Yes.
So you have, it is within your, you have wiggle room to decide whether you want to pay turnover or whether you want to do this regular income.
Yes.
Okay. So because I think it was important to get that out, because the way it came about was that in addition to, then you still had to pay the turnover tax.
No, it's not in addition to.
Okay.
It's not in addition to. If your normal income tax, you're filing your normal income tax returns at the end of the year, then you don't have to be on turnover. And then remember, turnover tax is a final tax. So if you file your turnover tax, if you file and pay your turnover tax, that's a final tax. That's it.
Okay. So this monthly 20th of the month kind of story,
yes.
If that, and now KRA will be able to know, come December and you sort out all your processes and you do your turnover tax at the end of the year, then you will not get that reminder come the 20th of January and the 20th of February that you must do one or the other thing because you've understood that this person is actually going the turnover way.
Yes, if you've registered for turnover tax, then we don't expect you to have the
income tax
obligation.
Can you opt out of income tax obligation and go to turnover
No,
tax?
you cannot opt.
If you're already in income tax, that's it. You're stuck there.
You pay, but you can apply. You can still apply to the commissioner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one, if we understood it correctly, it was targeting. It was looking at expanding widening the tax bracket.
Yes.
Going for the small businesses that were not in the net yet.
Yes.
And saying, let's simplify this thing for you, so that you are running a business hassle-free. You just know these are the sales that I made. Declare the sales, pay your 1%, and let's move to the next month.
Yes.
What's the uptake been like?
The uptake has been good. I'd say the uptake has been good.
And what kind of businesses are registering for this?
If you compare with the previous turnover tax that was suspended, that one was at 3%. So when it was reintroduced, it was reintroduced at 1%. So the intake, the partake has been good. Yeah.
What kind of businesses are registering for TOT?
Small businesses. I'd say all small businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly small businesses.
And they,
as long as you're within
these brackets,
yes.
of 1 million to 50 million,
yes.
In a year, then people are coming in and they're registering. Are they complying regularly, or do they require a lot more information, a lot more sensitization and training on then compliance, the compliance side?
Okay, taxpayer education, actually that is reminding people on the need to be compliant, is ongoing. And it's a continuous thing, even for KRA. Because most of the taxpayers, you have to remind them that you need to comply, you need to pay the taxes until we get to where the tax morale is a bit up. Yeah, but most people file and they pay voluntarily. Yes.
One of the issues that we hear all the time when we have conversations about tax is the cost of compliance.
Okay.
People find it difficult. So just not being able to maneuver through iTax. Now we're going to have the teams not being able to run your ETR. So you end up having to outsource these services. It's a cost. If you just got delayed because you were filing your returns on the 20th and there was internet challenge, it falls on, you file at 1 a.m. on the 21st, there's already a penalty accruing. So this cost of compliance is an issue.
Okay, that's why turnover tax is here. Number one, it's simplified. So you don't need the services of a professional accountant when you're talking about turnover tax. 1% of your gross sales, you can do it because gross sales we all maintain. You don't have to go checking on all the receipts to compute the expenses. So it's simplified. Number two, you can file and pay using the KRA M-Service app. using your phone. You don't have to go look for a computer, internet, and pay. You'll just do it from the comfort of even your house.
Right.
Number 3, you can even use a USSD code, *572# to file and pay for turnover tax. So it's quite simple and cheaper, much cheaper.
It's been simplified
Yes.
to a great extent.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Penina, for joining us today. As we conclude the conversation, just one final message in about a minute to everybody who's listening on the relationship between a taxpayer and KRA.
I'd say the taxpayers are customers, and we view them as such. So if you have any issues, you should feel free to come to Times Tower, ground floor, or any other tax service office that is near you. You can even call. Thank you.
And you can also go online, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. KRA is all over. We'll be there to serve you. Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you too.
And thank you for all the questions that have come in and those that we've been able to pose to Penina. Penina Monga is a tax expert with the Kenya Revenue Authority. We were just doing a little bit of tax education. Some of these questions keep cropping up, and people assume that they know until they hear something like, okay, that one I didn't know that. So it's important that we keep having these conversations so we can have more and more people then, that thing we're saying, people having the morale to pay tax and to be able to engage with KRA, to feel that KRA is approachable. KRA don't just come and knock on your door and put a padlock and go. You know, they are human and they're willing to deal with us. Keep it right here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. This is the Situation Room, broadcasting on SpiceFM around the country and also broadcasting on SpiceFM KE on Facebook and YouTube, and our website www.spicefm.co.ke. From Nairobi to the world. In the next hour, we'll open up the phone lines for the conversation that we'll be having as we head towards Christmas. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The Spice FM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire Days Settle. East African Community Heads of State is set to convene for the 18th Extraordinary Summit of the EAC Heads of State today. According to their statement by EAC, the theme of the summit is deepening integration and widening cooperation. The summit comes days after the 45th Extraordinary Meeting of the EAC Council of Ministers. The summit is expected to consider 2 items: the report of the Council of Ministers on the admission of the Democratic Republic of Congo into the EAC and the amendment of the quorum rule of the Summit of EAC Heads of State. Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania and Uganda form the EAC with its headquarters in Arusha, Tanzania. The EAC bloc, which is considering adding DRC Congo, seeks to expand its borders by opening up avenues for business and integration. Kirinyaga County Governor Anne Waiguru hosted a Christmas party for destitute and homeless families at Kianyaga Children's Home. The children's home currently has 47 children, 24 girls and 23 boys, has over the years been home to hundreds of street children. The facility is run by the county government, which caters to all the needs of the children, including education and employing the staff who take care of them. She advised the children to believe in themselves, since each of them has the potential of becoming whoever they dream to be. Now, workers at the Postal Corporation of Kenya in Mombasa County are protesting alleged non-payment of salaries for 3 months, a situation they said has denied the basic workers' rights, including medical care. Due to delays in salary payment, the workers have claimed that some of them have been listed to Credit Reference Bureau for failure to remit loan payment on time, yet deductions are made. Odero linked all their misfortunes at their workplace to poor management, thus calling for the removal of the Postal Master General Dan Kangwe and handing over management of the poster to the government. He said that they have tried to have a meeting with the board of directors to address their grievances, but their efforts were in vain. The Kenya Meteorological Department has announced that heavy rains will continue until after Christmas. In the latest 7-day weather forecast, Kenya Meteorological Department Director Stella Aura said heavy rainfall is likely over parts of the highlands east of the Rift Valley, southeastern lowlands, northeastern and the coastal strip. Strong southeasterly winds with speeds exceeding 25 knots are expected over some parts of northwestern and northeastern Kenya, in Nairobi and the highland east of Rift Valley. Met says mornings are likely to be cloudy with rains. It further predicts that afternoons and night showers are likely to occur, while occasional heavy rainfall is likely over a few to several places. Regions such as northeastern Kenya, which have been experiencing prolonged drought, are also going to receive rains, according to the weatherman. United Nations Rights Office has urged for a speedy investigation into cases of serious sexual violence and the use of live ammunition against protesters in Sudan. The allegations surfaced after demonstrations in Khartoum over the weekend, where tens of thousands had marched to mark the third anniversary of protest that led to the overthrow of longtime President Omar al-Bashir in April 2019. Demonstrators who met for the presidential palace were also protesting against October's military coup and the political agreement signed later on 21st of November. UN Rights Office spokesperson Liz Throssell says that security forces are alleged to have raped or gang-raped 13 women and girls. Now, Facebook owner Meta says it has banned several surveillance companies for targeting users on its platforms. A new report by Meta says about 50,000 users will receive warnings about the malicious activities. It accused surveillance firms of actions like creating fake accounts, befriending targets, and using hacking methods to harvest information. The company accused the companies of targeting individuals, including journalists and human rights activists. It said in its report that some 1,500 pages had been suspended by Meta across Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp following a months-long investigation. The companies targeted people in more than 100 countries on behalf of their clients. And European leaders are reinstating coronavirus restrictions as the new Omicron variant continues to spread through the continent. Nations including Germany and Portugal have announced post-Christmas cabs and greater social distancing measures. Omicron is already the dominant strain in many European countries. World Health Organization boss Tedros Adhanom says the surge will push health systems towards the brink of collapse. And with COVID-19 cases on the rise across the United States, President Joe Biden has announced a series of steps to mitigate the spread of the virus, including broader access to at-home testing, new vaccination sites, and more federal support for COVID-burdened hospitals. Biden outlined his winter plan in a speech where he pleaded with unvaccinated Americans to get their jabs. He said while the new Omicron variant spreads faster than other strains of the coronavirus, vaccines continue to provide protection from serious illness and death. This as we continue to urge you to go get tested, protect yourself and those that you love. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, still continues in certain parts of the city this morning, but nothing too crazy actually, guys. A little bit of traffic on Outer Ring here and there on the Southern Bypass. We're seeing that from the Likoni interchange. It's an absolute mess. Let's see, where else are we looking? Coming off of Thika Superhighway, no traffic this morning. In the CBD is where you'll find the highest concentration of traffic this morning. But it looks like we're going to get through this one without too much of a headache. Spice FM KE through the morning. Text on 40120. Okay, that number. All right. 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's 8:09, Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the final hour of the show today. Let's hear the kanga of the day's proverb.
Kanga hazai ugenini.
Kanga hazai ugenini.
Yes.
Kanga sio kama kangaroo.
Hapana. Na wala sio nguo.
Sio nguo.
Yes, sio mavazi.
Na si askari kanga.
Hapana.
What's kangaroo in Kiswahili?
Kangaroo.
I saw a name for it in Kiswahili and wondered which Swahili. There is a. Let me look for it. Which Swahili named kangaroo? Where did they see it?
For real, I said, yes,
hii ni kangaroo.
Kangaroo in Swahili.
Jaribu. Endelea. Tafadhali
what is
endelea.
the Swahili word?
Kangaroo.
Ngoja wewe. Acha nitaipata tukiendelea tu pale. So the English translation of kanga hazai fua.
A guinea fowl does not lay eggs in strange places. Yes. It is very, very clear. You see, the whole import of this particular proverb is in the egg, and why the egg is so important to this particular proverb. Why do you think the kanga would be so specific about where it lays its eggs?
Because you lay it anywhere, anybody can go and step on it or steal it.
Precisely. And what does an egg represent to the
Life.
kanga? Yes, exactly. Continuity. Yes. So the kanga is simply not going to scatter the eggs all over the place.
Can't just do that.
No.
Yeah, you protect it.
Precisely. You ensure.
You're a mother.
Yes, that is the general idea.
Okay, that's a very good one. So we're going into Christmas again. How many days to Christmas, Ndu?
Okay, now it's 2.
If I ask again, it will be Christmas.
You know, this principle is it's an interesting one, and I think it's entrenched in children. Have we reached?
Yes. Is it Christmas yet?
Yes. See, it was Christmas. You said it was.
You said it was Christmas.
No, I said it was 3 days. And see, 2 days after 3 days. Hey, okay.
Yes, it's true. I've been asked that question this week.
When is Christmas?
Not reaching.
It's not reaching.
It's not yet Christmas.
Are you sure it's coming? Say, yeah, it's coming.
So Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow. It's just coming. All right. And as Christmas comes, of course, we're seeing this year's Christmas is slightly different from last year's Christmas. I mean, we can say there's array of positivity this year as compared to last year. Last year's was a lot of uncertainty. It was at the point when, the president had just reopened the country from the lockdown of COVID the first time and then locked it again. And there was the uncertainty and people had lost jobs and livelihoods. This year, you can say the country we've gone into how many lockdowns this year? Once. Over Easter. And there's then the feeling of, okay, let's try and get back into life. But cost of living has gone up. Indeed. Now that eggs are not coming from Uganda, mafuta has gone up. Yes, the government is cushioning, but it still has gone up.
Which means maize is also not coming from Tanzania.
Maize is also not coming from Tanzania. Wheat flour, up. Feeds. We have issues with feeds, with people feeding their cattle so then they can sell us milk and beef, which means the cost of this up. So cost of basic commodities is basically on an up and up, despite the fact that it's now raining, so vegetables may be cheaper at some point, but maybe not. So as we are getting into Christmas, there's competition for the little that's in the pocket.
Yes, there is.
Because kids have just closed school, and no sooner than they'll be opening school.
It's like they never closed.
Yeah, they'll just be going back to school. Heading back to school means school fees. Those that went home earlier because of suspension or because the schools had closed because of the level of, what was it in schools? Indiscipline, I call it indiscipline. Unrest.
Mass indiscipline, which led to the unrest that
in
we
schools.
witnessed.
And now they are being told that you have got to pay for the repairs, in addition to clearing any fee arrears. Before you've even cleared that, you have to come in for a new term with school fees for the new term. So all these things, this is Christmas with all those things.
It's a little bit more difficult as well because this time last year, children had not been in school for the
For a
better
long
part
time,
of the year.
yes.
They had been out of school for 10 months, so they were at home anyway. So even as difficult as it was with the whole COVID and people not having jobs and not having income, the kids were at home.
Yes.
So you did not have to prepare for them to come home and then take them back. This year is a little bit more different, right? Because you have to bring them home from school, especially those who are boarding. You have to bring them home, they travel, right? And then in a very short time, you prepare them again to go back. And then you have to replenish supplies that are needed, etc., etc. But then that coupled with the rising cost of many things that have increased significantly over the last 12 months, you can see the difference already with some of the basic things that you would use to live. We're not even just talking about going into a festivities period. So it is being made a little bit more difficult. Now, for those traveling, remember that the cost of travel also has increased. Whether you're going to add a train, whether you're going to add a plane, what. We're looking at stories today of at least 500 shillings on most routes. So you can imagine if you were paying 400 shillings and you're leaving from Nairobi, you're going to Nakuru. Now that has increased significantly. You're going to be paying short of 1,000 bob to get from point A to point B. And that's one way, all right? So you're going to do that for children who have to travel. You're going to do it for yourself if you're traveling for the Christmas holiday. You're going to do it for yourself to come back across the country. Because you know how we talk about people having personal vehicles, they're actually in the minority. The majority of the people who are going to travel have to do this via public transport. And this is where we see a greater cost because you want to, enjoy a little bit over this time for those who have the wherewithal to do so. So it's going to be more expensive. And staring down this reality for a lot of people is a bit scary. And you're saying, okay, so a lot of people make the decision to say, well, you know what, it's okay. It's a week. Let's just carry on as though nothing is happening. And let's just live in the reality that we're not going to celebrate this year.
So you're saying there's some people who are basically making a decision to go through Christmas like it's nothing.
It's Friday, the weekend. Come back. No big deal. Because
and this is being forced by circumstance.
You can't afford it. Are you going to force an issue when there's so many things competing with that on the lesser shilling that you have? There are many more things competing for your shilling than there were last year, one. And the same things that, even if it was the same things that were competing for that shilling this year, each of those things is taking up a bigger space because they're more expensive.
We're all looking at you.
It's good that you are because, I'm thinking.
You know you're Father Christmas.
Yeah, please do something.
Yeah.
Okay, Cousin Christmas. It is a truly difficult situation. It truly is. Huh? And my mind goes back to the promises that presidential candidates have been making to the electorate. Bottom up, bottom down, this and the other. It's a pity that even narratives that in and of themselves are useful, once politicized, somehow they lose the very veracity that they would ordinarily have, because now the politics around it takes over. So anything and everything that could have been good is muddied. The situation we find ourselves in is one where the compilation and the application of what you call a universal basic income would become very necessary. Because there are people who honestly right now do not know what to do with themselves, literally. There are no jobs to be had, so there are no salaries. They have children. Everything that other people who have jobs have are the same challenges that they have. Now, universal basic income is intended to stop you from actually getting to the absolute pits of poverty.
Yeah.
It's not for life. No. It's for a season. Now, when the government keeps talking about rolling out these things, and we've had these programs, the problem is, every program that we want to roll out, you feel a cold shiver down your spine because experience has taught you that the very thing that is said is going to be done doesn't actually quite get done. I remember when COVID first came into being and foodstuffs were being given in places like Kibra. I have a colleague who lives in Kibra. And the stories that guy was telling me, you listen and you say, hey, seriously. Then I know some young men who are in this Kazi kwa vijana. And then you're thinking, this is somebody who is employed and their job is to make sure that these young people are compensated adequately for the work they're doing. You still want a percentage of their earnings, for heaven's sake. Now, what I find singularly disturbing is that attitude, because even with the best laid plans and the best of intentions, we are always going to fall short of the mark that we have set. And yet, we don't have to fall short of it. With the meager resources the country has, it is possible for very many of our country men and women who are going through these really difficult times to have something to hold on to. That possibility exists.
It's possible for the government to be there for them at this time.
Yes, it is possible.
And then we're going into an election. It's going to be peak campaign season over this Christmas period into the new year. All right? Are we all looking at what's happening and connecting it to the dots of what we're hearing from the people who want to be our leaders?
Yes.
Whether you want to be president, a governor, senator, MP, MCA, woman rep. Are we connecting what we are hearing them telling us with the reality on the ground? Vitu kwa ground is the difficulty of life. Vitu kwa ground is how expensive it is to live. That connection. Or are we just gotten to a point where we have grown this huge divide and chasm between what we expect from our leaders and what we expect from ourselves in life? That leaders, we expect lies. Life, we expect buttering.
Yeah, it's almost as though would-be leaders or aspirant leaders are having a conversation with themselves. Because the experience of the reality of everybody else's life is totally different. The person who is struggling that would say that it would be nice if I just had something that would tide me over and allow me then to make a provision for my family. Because, look, guys, let's just be honest. Down to the wire, it is about survival. In a country whereby, and many at this point, in countries whereby the political class or aspirational leaders are saying one thing and people cannot afford a meal in the same country, there's a huge
disconnect.
Huge disconnect.
It's a massive disconnect, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What are we? People are talking about things that if you brought that conversation into the four walls, if they had it, of anybody who's sitting there looking at their family and saying, what am I going to eat? There's no space for that conversation.
It's all futuristic.
Yeah, there's no space for that conversation right then and there.
Yep.
You're thinking about food for today. You're thinking
someone is telling you about 2023.
Sure.
In 2023, I'll give you this and
the
you're
other. Like, what, Hoa? Today, I need to eat. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Teacher is looking for me.
School fees, blah.
January is there. The kids are going back to school, and you're telling me about something that has no space. There's no space for that conversation right now.
Let's bring in a caller, Ed Getonga.
Hey guys, how have you been?
Happy holidays, Ed.
Ed, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been at home for the past 1 month. I had a little accident, but I'm doing okay now.
Hey, Pole.
Yeah. But
I hope you weren't injured.
Yeah, I had a broken hand twice, and but I'm doing good.
Hey, Ed Pole.
Yeah, it's courtesy of these guys who drink and drive. But anyway, now here's the thing. As far as the political side is concerned right now, I can tell you this beyond any reasonable doubt, Eric, that there is nobody right now who said something that makes sense to me. And why I'm saying that is because, as you're saying, these guys, they don't know how it feels or how much a Kenyan is earning per day. They don't know. When you tell me that you have an economic, for example, you see you have an economic platform that is going to rise people from where to where, yet you don't even know where those people stand right now. And funny enough, right now, most political aspirants are coming now to the villages and launching tournaments, etc., as a campaign thing. Yet, the thing is, where were you all along? I'm going to tell you, I loved it. I saw in media, these guys, there are some border guys from Rise, and I loved the idea that they had. They had a very simple idea. We are not going to wear any reflector jackets from any political aspirant. Because you guys, you've come to use us. You want us to market you. Yes, you've given me a reflector jacket that I can afford, and I'll rather take a reflector jacket from a financial institution that has given me a loan to get that bike. And those guys right now, they are not taking any reflector jackets from any politician.
That's brilliant.
I hope people would, right now, they would really take a leader who really has something for them, but not on passive basis. Because I can tell you this. For example, Eric, let's be honest. A tech campaign promises that they are giving us. Is there anyone who has drawn a manifesto from the people?
That's what they claim to have done that.
Yes, they draw it from people who are political strategists.
Yeah.
There's no way. Let me tell you something, Eric, and that is the thinking that I always have. If you have a politician who is promising you a land of milk and honey, that is not a leader, that is a politician. Why? Because that guy, if, for example, Eric, if I provide you with everything as a leader, will you ever need me?
Nope.
And politics in Kenya deals with deficiency. Nikunyime hapa ndo next time unichague tena.
Create dependence, yes.
Yes, and once, at least, guys, let's get a leader who is going to solve some of their problems. But mtu akikuja na honey-filled lips, huh? Honey-filled lips and honey-filled manifesto. A manifesto that feels like it's in America, yet we are in Kenya, whereby there are some people who are living with less than $1 a day.
Ogopa huyo.
Huyo, please, ondokea.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. That's very true, Ed.
And happy holidays to everybody at SpiceFM, everybody even listening to us.
Cheers, man.
Ed, thank you so much for calling in.
You're very welcome, guys.
Na usalimie watu wako kabisa, eh?
Nita wasalimia, my friend.
Thank you.
0719-012-600. Join the conversation. So we're talking about the difficulty with which we are facing this year's Christmas and festive season. You know, high cost of living, goods have gone up, transport is up, then you have school fees to pay in just a couple of days' time, and you have politicians who are coming to ask for your vote next year, and all of them are promising things that they'll do if you elect them starting 2023. 100 billion shillings seems to be the one.
It's a nice number, right?
It is the peel that William Ruto is going with. What is? There's a problem in the coast, land issues, 100 billion shillings fund if you elect me president. There's a problem with the youth, 100 billion shillings fund if I become president to sort out youth na huyu mtu mdogo na wa biashara ya kawaida na jamaa yule muungwana wa kinyozi. 100 billion shillings. Is it women? 100 billion shillings on anything.
100 billion is the panacea.
You have a problem with Christmas?
100
billion shillings to take care of Christmas.
You know what is equally strange? If you look at the monies that all our counties have received, each and every county in this country, if you do the maths and look at what they have received, some who have received in excess of that 100 billion. Yes.
Yep.
Some much in excess to the almost to the point of 200 billion. Billion. The 100 billion, many have achieved it. So, so this story of this panacea that 100 billion shilling represents, which one is it?
And why can't it be done now?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Look, governors, you are able to sort out projects today that would help your people earn a living.
You're the ones who are in touch with these people.
You're the ones who determine even how much money comes to the counties.
Yes.
IBEC is governors and the deputy president and the CS Treasury and Commission on Revenue Allocation.
Yes.
All this. But this same deputy president who chairs IBEC that looks at how much money, he could actually influence how much money.
And
they
says,
could have
let's
that
get
conversation.
This thing moving now.
Yes.
Yes.
It hasn't happened. We are talking about something happening in Parliament yesterday and today. A vote on amendment to the political parties bill, law, right? And it's being pushed by those who support the president and those who support the deputy president. That means not the prime minister. That means former prime minister. That means the president and the former prime minister are behind this bill.
Yes.
Okay? So if the former prime minister is so influential that he can actually see to it that there's a bill that brought to parliament and it's being prioritized for debate, he can also go to the president and prioritize Alaf-Sita for Christmas.
He can.
So 2,000 shillings could actually move to 6,000 shillings, or just make sure that the 2,000 shilling that has not been disbursed
is disbursed.
He has enough influence, but no, he's talking about 2023. Alaf-Sita, kila mtu.
And yet that is something that can be a reality today.
That's why then you have to ask the authenticity of some of... Look, you have to ask the authenticity of some of these promises.
You know, the question that I raise, even as you raise that of authenticity, and I agree with you, is this cabal of individuals who surround these leaders, what do they use for thinking? For heaven's sake. Are they so out of touch with... They're all representatives of people. Are they so out of touch with what's happening to people in this country that they cannot see what ought to be a priority?
No, they're not out of touch. And this is why it's more painful, CT, that they know, but they don't care. Because if you really did care about the situation that you see, you can't. How do you know that people are suffering? How do I know that people are suffering? How do you know the pressure that people feel? Because you can see it.
Because you are people.
You see it. You know. You're in touch. You know. You can see. Nobody has to call you and say, look, come and see that people are suffering. No, it's right there in the open. But that's not your priority. It's not within your interest. Your interest is you. That's why you see.
You know, someone told me something the other day which I thought was very pertinent. He said, there's no Kenyan who doesn't have a poor relative. None.
How many groups are you part of right now?
He said, none. There is no Kenyan, none whatsoever, who does not have a poor relative. So somebody cannot tell you they don't know what's happening. Now, if you're a politician, how much more? How many people come to you for help?
This is it. So constantly. You know the state of the country. You know the situation that people are in because they're also approaching you. But you have an advantage because you're in a unique position to have done something about it or to do something about it. But we keep hearing the same stories over and over again.
It's promises for the future. Let's take a break, and as we allow you, welcome you to call in 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. How do we connect between what we're hearing from our politicians and the reality on the ground? I mean, it's Christmas time, and there are very many families that will not enjoy Christmas. There are very many children who are not even asking their parent, is it Christmas yet? Because they can look at their parents and they can tell. They can see there's nothing to pressure my parent for. Nothing at all. Yet the politicians are promising things that they will do from 2023 onwards. 0719-012-600.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Download the InDriver app from the App Store or Google Play Store to enjoy a safe, comfortable, and affordable ride around Nairobi. The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your destination for a safe, comfortable, and affordable trip only with InDriver.
If I'm found guilty, there is no problem. I'm willing to serve. I have no problem. Jails are meant for human beings.
They say a society gets the leadership it deserves. If you have a corrupt, crooked, and rotten society like we have in Kenya, then of course they will get that kind of a leadership.
I think the president should dissolve parliament. That's the best solution at this moment in time. Dissolve parliament.
All of you go home.
Yes, we all go home.
How are we encouraging other people who might have new and creative ideas? Young people who are making money without any government help. They are just buying their own bundles, they are going on TikTok and making money. KRA is coming after them.
I've been in parliament for 15 years. We have been unable to pass the gender law. And yet no presidential candidate is talking about it now. Because we are fake. The truth is, all the men refuse to vote for that law.
What did Sonko do to Pumwani, maternity hospital?
Yeah, he
with
cleaned
his
it up.
own money.
Cleaned it with his own money. That was him as an individual.
Yeah. And I did not say he was cleaning his own money. I was saying he cleaned
Foot, mouth. Foot, mouth. Eric.
The weather with
in Nairobi at 18, highs of 24 and lows of 15. It's partly sunny at 20 in Nakuru, highs of 24, 22 with high in Nyeri, where it's cloudy at 18. And we're looking at sunny conditions at 18 in Eldoret, highs of 24 and lows of 14. Mombasa, it's raining at 27, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Dar es Salaam also raining at, coming back then into Kisumu, partly sunny conditions, highs of 31 and lows of 20. Malindi is rainy as well at 28, highs of 29 and lows of 25. All right, into Kampala, it's 22 and hazy, highs of 26 and lows of 19. 21, there's a haze over Lagos as well, highs of 31, 34 and lows of 21. All right, Johannesburg, mostly cloudy conditions at 19, highs of 23 and lows of 14. And Kinshasa is sunny at 25, highs of 32 and lows of 23. 6 degrees and sunny in Beijing, heading into early evening. We'll see lows of -4. -1 and clear in Paris, highs of just 2 and lows of -2. It's 0 in London, clear however, highs of 4 and lows of 0. It's raining in New York in addition to the cold weather. 8 degrees will be the high and lows of -1.
Spice FM. Nyeri.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM.
All right, Mombasa Road at the Maradaima stretch in and outbound, some traffic this morning. North Airport Road also taking some of it, going then towards Outering. And that situation continues on the southern bypass, coming off of Likoni at the interchange. Langata Road now is when we see some traffic. It seems that folks woke up a little bit late today. And so then traffic getting onto Langata Road at the Timor roundabout is when we are seeing that. Jogo Road, then also going towards Kamkunji. That slows down some. CBD is jam-packed and looks like it'll be that way for some hours. So let's keep an eye on things, all right? Spice FMKE on Twitter, text 40127.
It's Christmas time again. Showmax.com, www.showmax.com. Have you gone for that free trial? Because you should, right? If you go to showmax.com, you will see how you can apply for the free trial. Go for it. Try it out for the next 14 days. And then thereafter, choose a package that works for you. And it's a perfect one for this Christmas season.
Yes.
Entertainment and sports, wherever you are, even if you travel or you don't travel, you have access to everything on your mobile devices, or your smart TV, or your gaming console, all of that. www.showmax.com, 23 minutes to 10.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It continues, and we want to hear from you.
Mornings done right.
Are people actually connecting between what is happening in our everyday life and what our political leaders are promising to do?
You know what Ed just mentioned? Answers part of the question you've asked. It's the voter coming of age. Remember, we've talked endlessly about the voter taking the step to inform the vote seeker what their stand is and what they're going to put up with and what they won't.
Yes.
So when you hear of such a story, in my mind, it's monumental.
Where border riders say, do not give us reflector jackets
We are not
to
interested.
advertise you.
No. Because they have done the arithmetic, they've talked about it, they've public participated among themselves and realized these guys don't help our lives.
We are basically walking billboards for free.
Yes, exactly. Because the people who help our lives are these financial institutions who give us loans for, and this is how we make a living.
Yeah.
So, these guys, connection, no. This euphoria that they pull us into and we willingly go into so that we can support them, forget it.
Yeah.
Meaning, they have taken control of the narrative.
Yeah.
Now that is one of the things one hopes one would see, and I'm glad I'm seeing
Across the
it.
country.
Yes. So that the leader can be told, Nani, stop telling us about 20 God knows when. If you want to talk to us about now.
You want to talk to me? Talk to me direct.
Yes.
Zachary, good morning.
Oh, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Zachary.
You sound healthier.
Well, I'm a bit, would you call it convalescing? There's that word, yeah?
You've said it well. That is the word. You're convalescing. Yes.
It's convulsing.
You have
something different, Zachary.
Zachary, convalescing is different. You're convalescing.
Okay. Not conversing, convalescing. Yeah, that's word. Yeah. You guys, you have to forgive every guy from Mount Kenya. The English is in our head, but getting it out through our tongue is an uphill task, yeah? But once you give us the pen right, that's when you know, there are some guys there in Mount Kenya who should be also compared to the guys from the Mwalimu side, yeah? And this is good. Now, I'm actually doing better.
Good.
And I hope God is going to bless me more and give me more health, yeah?
Yes, we pray
Actually,
for you.
Zachary, that you're able to talk to us is a clear sign that God has already done that very thing you're talking about.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marimandro. And I'll start reading books without illustrations. Right, guys. Now, this is the thing, yeah? Yesterday, the adults in the room were in the first hour where they talk about what they have found out, what they have heard about. They had a very good topic, yeah? And they said, okay, why they were talking about a certain university student who committed suicide. And it's like he had a farewell party, And the Standard Digital reported that, and it's good. You guys cover everything, and we praise you for that, yeah? But then I wrote something there that why is this happening? So many people are having suicidal thoughts. And I told them, this is even going to increase exponentially. Do you hear that now I can be able to bring out the words very nicely?
Yes.
And I told them, can you imagine of a person who used to earn over 100K, probably the wife over 50K, yeah? Today, they have nothing. They have been reduced to destitute. These people are paying rent. They have kids they were taking to school and everything, yeah? But now, due to the prevailing economic situations, they also coupled with the COVID, yeah? Here I am talking like now, a presenter somewhere. These people are now destitute. But then they ask, why are they not talking out? This is the case. How do you, now, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you are presenting yourself as the the success poster boy or girl, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And today, you have nothing. You have nothing. Convincing people that you really have nothing, that is always beyond human capability, is it?
Yeah.
And this is why these things are happening. Let me remind you of something else that journalists know. There was this guy who went to Somalia to take photos of how people there are dying of hunger. I don't know whether it was Somalia or Ethiopia. I don't know. But then he came across a crawling girl, bony, very bony, yeah? And then behind the girl, there was a vulture. The vulture was convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the girl was to die. And therefore, the vulture now was to get his food, yeah? And the journalist, they said that he was rushing to catch up with his next flight to go and now show the Europeans how Africa looks like and how skinny you can be when you don't have food, is it? And then he went to a certain radio station there in Europe. I don't know which country. And then he was trying to paint a picture, a very good picture, so that I guess people could send the money to now come and help these people, yeah? But then one called and asked that guy, you are giving us that a very juicy story there. And we are crying and we feel like we are arranging money now to say it, yeah? But then he asked him individually, what did you do to the girl, that particular girl, yeah? And then we are told that the guy, realized, oh my God, I did something bad. I didn't help the girl, yeah? Because I was in a hurry to catch my flight back to the country, yeah?
Yep.
The guy said, I know you know the guy, and probably after the call you are going to tell people who that guy was. He developed depression, yeah?
Yep.
And he died of it. Let me tell the politicians. Once we are out of this situation and they go and probably tell our stories of how we are suffering, some of them are going to get depression because they are going to get the same question. Okay, you told us that there was COVID, there was this, there was that. What did you do at that particular time? Yes, you promised 6,000. Yes, you promised Hurubara or whatever what you are promising. But did you give those people the water? Because that is probably what they needed the most to survive on that day. And they died because of water. Water which cost probably less than 20 shillings, yeah? And that is going to eat them up to their graves. Let me tell you, Mr. Eric, if you come to the ground and you mix with the people, ordinary people, yeah? You even may cry. Sometimes you are even forced not to go out so that you do not hear some of these spirit arousing, stories, yeah? And probably later, I call upon everyone who has got something to spare. Even if it's a banana, yeah?
Yeah.
Share with the next person.
That's very true.
That's what I may say. But can you kindly give us that story of that guy and tell us the name of him? And Marimadru.
The gentleman was called Kevin Carter. And it was in 1993 and it was in Sudan.
Tell me where I can get a book about him to read.
Yes, Kevin Carter. He actually won a Pulitzer Prize for that particular picture, but 4 months after he got his prize, he committed suicide.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you. I'm going to look for his book, and probably where he has been referenced, and probably read more about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys, and you have a nice Christmas and good time.
You too.
Thank you, Zachary.
Thank you.
0719-012-600. He says, Zachary, that at some point the guilt will eat the politician.
Actually, these politicians are a bit impervious to such sentiments. The guilt normally hits them when they no longer have the Mheshimiwa tag that accompanies
when
the
they're
seat.
back to reality.
Yes.
They remain Mheshimiwa even if they're no longer serving MPs.
When they begin to live in the reality that we're asking them to realize right now.
That's when now you, let me tell you, there are more former Waheshimiwa than there are Waheshimiwa. And the sad story for most of them, there are many who, if someone told you they were once a member of parliament, you will not believe. Because they are a very basic citizen. No vehicle, functions like just an ordinary citizen, public transport, surviving. And if You can give him a lending year, he'll tell you about the glorious days when he was an MP and the things they discussed in Parliament. And usually, he was part of some policy, he was part of some bill, which you can't remember. Okay? So, yes, it does catch up with them, but not quite in the way you'd like to, because I would rather it caught up with them when they still had the power so that they could actually make the changes. But unfortunately, the focus that we have and that we've made a national pastime in this country is at the level that you find yourself in. Everybody tries to amass some wealth. Everyone wants to make some money. So everybody is a businessman. Decision-making processes and policies that are supposed to help the common mwananchi, so long as it's an issue, that is what you will use to leverage. It's an unfortunate state of affairs, but that is the morass that we have sunk to. So that the issue of the welfare of the so-called common mwananchi is a non-issue. The best that is done is lip service is paid to it, and that's as far as it goes. Beyond that, any actual deed that is done that you can look at and say, this is what has been done, it's not even few and far-flung. It just simply doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
No.
It doesn't exist.
No.
Yeah, because then now you also then are in the same boat as the people that we would essentially be asking you to save. So who's going to hold whose hand up?
The
at that
priority
point
is whether you are going to drive a V8 or you're going to graduate to something even funkier.
Yeah. Currently.
And where the address you're going to live in, and then how many stories your house is going to be.
But then when you're bereft of the position, then, who's going to hold the other one up, right? When you're walking like everybody else, when you're taking public transport like everybody, because let's be honest, that then becomes the position of many people who've lost their position.
A friend of mine who is a member of parliament told me once that if I'm planning to buy a 4-wheel drive car, I should wait 6 months after an election. And I asked him why. He said, there are very many Mheshimiwa who are those 4-wheel drives and they can't afford to maintain them.
So former Mheshimiwa
has humongous fuel guzzling 4-wheel. Can't afford it. I said, give it around 8 months. You'll be amazed at the price at which they will sell you that vehicle, because it's an asset that they have, but they do not have any. And he told me, most of us are not businessmen. So we don't plan. He said, that's part of the reason why you find us pushing so hard for these pensions.
Because then you can live off of something.
At least there's something you can live off. But in the absence of that, he says, my friend, whatever profession you had before, 5 years down the line, you can no longer keep up with whatever else other people are doing. You lost touch a long time ago. Yes. You're not in touch. You can't be relevant. So the truth of the matter is reality will catch up with them sooner than they think. And this COVID, we keep talking about the economic ramifications of COVID. We haven't felt them fully. Not yet. Not yet. Even these very individuals who seem to think that they have the upper hand in making obscene promises which they have no intentions of keeping. The level of poverty that COVID has introduced will open people's eyes in ways that even they themselves did not imagine could be opened. Because COVID has brought us to a point where even the things you used to hope for no longer exist.
So you stop hoping.
Yes. What is there to hope for? You are willing to work, there is no work. You're willing to earn, no one is willing to pay you because they also don't have money to pay you. And those who have money are not willing to spend it, they are holding it. So, the sort of situation that brings about change often is the sort of dire straits that we see ourselves sinking into more and more and more, because it forces an awakening. Somebody realizes, my friend, I have been following the wrong path and I've been following the wrong people. Because if these people were really keen on my welfare, I would not be in this position.
We need all to get into that position where we can bravely speak with one voice. Because I think if you talk to very many people, they'll tell you, these guys are all lying to us.
They know that, but
people know that.
They know that.
But when it comes to being together, then we don't raise that voice together. As a unit.
Yeah,
together,
people raising them in different pockets
pockets.
But then it comes together as a unified voice. Because there is a power that is in a unified voice for either somebody to take notice and then act on it. Right? But even you have somebody wants you to do something, a group of people want you to do something, but then you hear it from one person today, you go, come tomorrow, hear it from another person tomorrow. Think about the impact that will have on you if you sat in one place and all of these people are saying the same thing to you at the same time.
It won't give you very much
tomorrow,
choice.
It wouldn't give you much choice.
You'll realize here,
this is something
This
that
is
we
the
must
only
deal
way.
with. Yes.
The only way. Look at the photo that Grido Jaka has shared with us on Twitter. What is he saying?
So and he says, below is an example of how an average Kenyan or Nairobian lives like. Their needs are pretty basic and immediate, as can be seen. Nothing lofty, as the politicians would have us believe.
And the photo is basically just low cost housing, low income from a low income area. It's a shags, and this is
these are aluminium sheets, corrugated iron sheets.
Yep.
For houses, they're your wall, they're your roof.
Yep. And the place has no tarmac road.
When you look at that place, do you see even the existence of running water?
Yep.
Do you see a sewage system in that place?
These are the basics that we're dealing with.
Yes.
Not 100 billion.
No. People want to eat.
It's not 100 billion stuff.
You know, in reality, people actually want to work.
People want to earn a living.
Yes, they do.
An honest and decent living.
Yes.
So that they can then improve on their life. But at the same time, they want a government that provides those basic services.
Yes, they do.
If it's a road, access roads, make them. If it's a sewer system, make it
so that I
available.
can
If it's
be
water,
decent.
make it available. Power and connectivity, make it available.
If it's healthcare, make it available.
Make it available.
Because
Let
again,
my children just walk from here to that place,
school.
and that's a school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at
That's
this,
what people are
yeah.
looking for.
What you see now, clothes hanging on the line, people have to buy the water that they use to wash those clothes.
Yep.
Buy the water that they drink and eat.
And you know the tricky thing about that water, you don't
even know the
sources.
source.
The sources are sometimes completely suspect.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, this is what we're talking about.
These are what people are looking for. Not 100 billion shilling, blah, 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 this and the other, blah, blah, blah. But you just want a government that just provide the services. Once you provide the services, then the opportunities will also emerge and will be able to live.
And Kenyans are industrious.
Yep, completely.
You provide an environment in which they can do stuff, they will do stuff.
Do it.
They will not need you. As it is, we have a situation where citizens survive despite and in spite of. Yes. So.
Baba ni nani? Joseph in Juja. Good morning. I was about to call you Juja in Joseph.
Hello.
Hi, Joseph.
Hi.
Hello. Mwalimu.
Yes, Baba. Ujambo?
Jambo sana.
Good to hear your voice.
Wananchi tuko na shida. Hata sisi wenyewe hatuna akili.
Kwa nini?
Tuko na shida. Kama mahali ninaishi sasa.
Yes.
Nilipeana ground ya kuchimba maji. Ikachimba maji na kama MCA ule alikuwa mbele yao, huyu hapa sasa. Tumefika mahali hiyo maji tunauziwa na government imekuja. Huyu MCA amekuja. Tukarudi maji ikakuja ya maji ya council. Wananchi wamekubali kulipa maji ile tunapaa tupewe bure. Tunaitisha ngiri 5. Kanjo inaitisha ngiri 5. Sisi wenyewe tuko na shida. Mtu mmoja anakula milioni 6 kwa sababu tuko na watu 1,200. Ukimultiply 1,500 na 1,200 inakuja milioni 6. Hiyo pesa inawekwa ndani ya mfuko yao na watu 3. Na wananchi wamekubali kulipa. Sasa hiyo sio shida tuko nayo.
Hiyo shida ni kubwa sana.
Hata sisi wananchi tunakubali kudanganywa. Bali wengine tuchukua hata sisi blame.
Lakini Joseph,
Yes.
watu walikubali kutoa pesa sababu walikuwa wanaona watapata hiyo service.
Yeah.
Sasa mbona services hajakuja, and what are people doing about it?
Maji ilikuja. Maji ilikuja. Shida yetu ni kubali kulipa hongo. Tumekubali kulipa, unajua tunalipa.
Ilikuwa hongo.
Tunapata tulipa 4,500 kwa sisi ndio tuwekea maji. Lakini watu 3 wamekuja wameongeza, imekuwa 9,500. Sasa nani wakulaumiwa hapo?
Ni mtoaji wa hongo.
Hao watu 1,200 wamekubali kutoa 1,000, wamekubali kutoa hiyo ni
Extra.
Sasa si viongozi wa kulaumiwa kwa kila kitu.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Hiyo ni kweli.
Sasa hapo turudi kwa upande mwingine. Wananchi tukiambiwa tufanye hivi, tunakubali tu hata bila kuangalia ni nini tulikuwa tunakubali tu, tunakubali support, tukiungana kama watu walizorai vile wanasema wakubali hiyo mashati. Mtu aliweka helicopter chini election hiyo ingine. Sasa tunataka kumuona tena na hii election nyingine tunamuona na
helicopter ingine. Joseph, very good points made. Thank you very much for your call this morning. He's saying, but we are the ones. We are the ones who put ourselves in this situation.
And agree.
You see, it's a Kenyan attitude, passive aggressive. Yes, we see the problem, but what is the easy way out?
Yeah.
To pay money, let's look for the money.
Yes. Tulipe tu ndio tupate money.
Tulipe tuachane na hii mambo mingi. Imagine tunataka ingine.
Let's just pay.
Yes.
And the people who are asking know that you are going
no, they
to
know.
get what?
They know. They know. And because, in fact, that increase is what tells you they know. 4,500 hapana, it's now 6,500.
Yes. Mtoe kama unataka maji.
Kama utaki sema.
City, the day's proverb?
Kanga hazai ugenini. You see, given these examples that we're looking at, the egg here, if you look at the societal issues we're talking about, do you really think that this problem, I'm looking at the egg as the problem, ambayo inazaliwa na huyu kanga, okay? The problems we have are mostly homegrown. The people who bring them to us are the people we've elected.
Yep.
Yes. So it's not somebody from outside. No.
They're ours.
It's these very people.
Yeah. Kanga, hazai, ugenini.
No.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. So we are taking a break over Christmas. From tomorrow, we'll be back on the 3rd of January next year, God willing. But during this time, we will be sampling some of the interviews and conversations that we've had throughout the past year. So make sure you tune in for that. Very many of those conversations, they'll be coming in. Asanteni sana for tuning in this year. Kenya's biggest conversation. Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. It's now 10 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The Spice FM Newswire is brought to you by InDriver. Choose your preferred driver, mode of transport, and negotiate your fare to your